Alright, are we ready to go? Let's see. Here we go. Hello and welcome to a new year, essentially. Happy New Year and welcome back. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Hi, Victor. Welcome back as well. I hope you're having an amazing day so far. Oh, there's a bit of an echo? Oh, I see. How about now? I turned it down a bit. I think it would be better. But if there's I can have a window open. I can maybe have doors open. This office is a bit weird because it's not technically an office. And it's still work in progress. As you can see, I'm still sitting on not my chair. So I'm working on it. But is this better? Is it better now? Is this better? Like I can have the door fully open and then I think that will help a lot with the echo. But if not, I don't know what else I can do. I can open the window a little bit for sure. But if we're good to go. Is it echoey still? Do I have? Oh, maybe I have. Oh, I know what happened. Sorry about that. I had my stream open in another window that I kind of forgot to shut down. That's unfortunate. Okay, well at least it's not about the room. At least we're fine. Sorry about that. I didn't see that window. But anyways, today we're gonna have a little bit of a chill day. I had a really good time last night. We had some friends over, and it was really good. But I'm still very, I don't know, I guess sleepy and still recovering a little bit. We did have a little bit of a party. So today I want to finish the ending C for NieR, and we're gonna spend a day watching those Drakengard videos because as I'm finishing with NieR Replicant, I do want to know the lore before starting Automata. I'm not sure if those videos contain any Automata spoilers. I hope not. But anyways, we're gonna watch them. But before we do, I want to zoom through this particular run. I think this is our ending C. Well, we were supposed to have ending C, but it turned into D because I decided to be nice to other people, which I am never gonna do in a Yoko Taro game ever again. But yeah, we're just gonna run through it. To have some Automata spoilers. Are they big? Like, how impactful is that going to be? As in, like, I don't mind tiny spoilers because I might just not understand them properly before I start the game. But if there's like a particular video that you think I shouldn't watch at this point, maybe maybe then I won't. I'm just gonna go through the ones that are posted on Discord. One. It's fine. Like touching on like Automata things is completely okay, for as long as they don't spoil like the ending or something like that. I don't mind like mini spoilers from Automata that just speak about the story in general. I do want to finish Automata, and I think maybe next week would be a good maybe next week would be a good time to start. Okay, let's talk to the bird. I'm just gonna run through this real quick. Okay, because of lack disease. By separating body from soul. Placed in their corresponding shells. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. There we go. We are mostly ready. Sorry about a little bit of a background noise. I also have my door open. I don't think anything in particular is that's new is gonna happen here. I am just going to. I am gonna skip these. We're here to, I don't know, rescue Yono, I guess. No. Okay, and then we just. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. I don't think.
What's happening?
Oh,
sorry. This fate was predetermined.
I forgot.
Still.
Forgot which buttons I need to be pressing.
We really wanted to avoid this if possible. We were hoping to put it off for 100 years or so. until the next
We still
generation
have
came
the
along.
grimoire powers, don't
What are
we?
you talking about?
Yeah, we do.
Are they shades?
I don't think so.
It's a lie. I don't believe it.
Kill him, you glorious bastards!
We never thought we'd grow to be this powerful.
This is madness. Why do you block our path?
I don't think
You have no
anything
cause
new
to
should
speak so
happen
fast, Grimoire Vice.
in C.
You are a traitor.
I think all of this is just gonna be the same. There's just that one cutscene, I guess.
They
Alright, this is where
copied my powers.
they get the
Shit on a shingle. They can use the sealed verses.
sealed
Of course we can.
verses.
The power came from us. In
It's
the
kind of
first
weird
place.
knowing that I'm
were
running
simply
through
young,
this
small
part
portion
for
of
like the last time.
Vice, are you all right?
Popola, why are you guys doing this? Why are you siding with the Shades?
I'm still a bit sleepy. Like I don't think I'm in a particular mood for playing today. I feel very like my hands feel tired, so I'm not very I'm not very proficient today. Honestly, I just want to see that last scene. I suppose I could look it up like online as well, but I just kind of want to know that I've completed the game.
The answer to every riddle lies.
Devila and Popola are fighting us.
Yes, they do seem to be putting us...
All right.
through a great deal of...
You okay, Vice?
Hate this part.
How
So
odd.
sad.
For long years, my mind and tongue have been my greatest assets. But now the latter seems to be...
Vice?
Do not look at me
Okay,
like
that's
that.
totally fine.
I am
That's totally
Grimoire
fine.
Vice.
I will watch them anyways. If there's no like, hey, this is what happens at the end of Automata, you know, it's totally fine.
I think I hear a waltz.
For some reason, the first time I was playing through like the waltz room, like I don't know, it was kind of hard. Not gonna lie. But then when you realize they spawn one by one, that's fine. Come on.
Bunch of dancing bastards.
They're all Shades.
Oh, we're level 36. We're even higher level than what we were because they saved my progress from like ending E, I suppose. That's kind of neat.
It's not
26
like I was
ending is a
planning
bit of
to
a
leave.
spoiler section. No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm only referring to like the first, what, the first two, I suppose? Not the first two, the first five. But I'm very much looking forward to Automata. I think the anime is dropping on. Is it January the 8th? And I think it's gonna be on Crunchyroll. Today I was trying to figure out where I'm gonna watch it, and I don't have a premium version of Crunchyroll. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch Automata without it. Am I just gonna have ads instead? Like, I mean, that's totally fine. But I'm wondering if it's even gonna be available. But they said that also the anime is gonna have a little bit of a different story. It's not gonna be the same as the game. Like, judging from what they said. I was just reading an interview, like, no spoilers or anything. But apparently the anime is supposed to be a little different. Because, like, they didn't want it to I guess, be boring. The first time I was playing through this, I think I was doing too much, like, running around unnecessarily, which is why I was finding it hard. New ending for Automata. Yeah, the 27th ending, huh? Now, I do want to watch it as it's coming out. So, I really want to finish Automata before starting, before the anime starts. At least one ending, I guess. Well, I guess they're kind of notorious for the amount of endings that they provide in their games, so I'm guessing that the anime will have another one as well. But I can't wait to watch it. It's gonna be so fun.
Damn it! It won't stop coming!
I'll open the next door. Cover me.
Oh, how I do love a good time.
Poor Vice. Sad sees every time.
Oh, right. Protect the hussy, yes? Good plan. Let's go.
I don't know, I mean, I like, judging by what people are saying, I know that the anime is gonna be good, and it was just, I don't know, I just don't wanna, like, miss out on it, I suppose, which is why I decided to start with NieR first.
Do I look like a goddamn locksmith to you?
No, you idiot. What are you doing?
Lock doesn't want to open? Fine. I'll just break it down.
Stop, you impatient fool.
No, I don't think I can speed this up. But like, in comparison to the bosses, that we saw in ending E, this is very easy. Like, that boss was very hard. Why was that so difficult?
What's wrong?
Like, when you said that ending has some tough bosses, I was like, how hard can it be? But then, like, the grandma appears and pretty much ruins your day. Yeah, that was very tough. It's like almost as if they planned. It felt like they planned for that ending to actually be the last one. They probably did as well, but then in comparison to that, the Shadow Lord wasn't, like, the Shadow Lord ending wasn't that bad at all. Oh shit, I forgot about this one.
We don't need forgiveness, asshole.
Kaine?
She was so confused when she said that.
Wait a second. Your heart is different. It ain't hatred, and it ain't sadness. What's going on here, sunshine?
How should I know?
Kaine, are you alright?
I'm fine. Let's just kill some shit and move on, alright?
Yeah, kill some shit. Except that we can't.
Oh, how very interesting.
It seems to lose some control when it charges. Brace yourself against the shock.
Damn shit.
Ah, shit, I missed it. It feels like I shouldn't be shooting it at all when it's looking at me. I it's not really hurting me. I think we are over leveled, but. Now again. Again and again and again. Jesus.
Can you even hurt this thing?
Oh, oh no! I can't stop now. Damn it.
There we go again.
Stay focused, Kaine. Don't fall victim to such distractions.
Come on! We have to keep going! Let's go!
Alright. The Shadow Lord was the first ending, but
This way! Move!
with the need to connect the games, Yoko wrote the ending E. Well, what do you mean connect? Like connected to Automata? I guess, also today I'm gonna watch that ending E video explained. Because, I mean, even though, like, yes, you can understand what's going on, I think it's a good idea to just, you know, watch something made by someone who went in depth with the lore to just kind of gain some context. I don't think I understood at all. I think I should probably leave. I don't like this part at all. If you hug the stairs, mostly you should be okay.
Please, hurry!
I'm trying. It's gonna catch me, isn't it? Ah, there we go. Okay, now we have, I think this is gonna be Devil and Popola. Still can't remember
Damn
the
it, I can't get it
sequence.
open!
Or no, this is the
Attack incoming!
Prince of the Mask thing.
Entrance is locked too!
It seems we are in a bit of a predicament.
Oh, you pissed her off now! Maybe you shouldn't have killed her friends. Look at her. So full of scorn, hate.
Her friends, more like her babies, technically.
Like you're any different. Hate is just another crush for you.
Hey now.
You're in
Are we
pain,
done?
You're lonely, no one likes you. So you try to
Nope.
hide it under violence and hate.
I'm not like that at all.
It's okay.
Yes, you are.
It is.
You are just like that.
I'm the same way. But just realizing that isn't going to help. It's too late for us now. It's too late for everything. We're too far gone, you and me. That's why we...
It's not gonna come back, is it? I can't remember. Oh, never mind. I can't remember how many times we have to do this. Too many times! Too many times have I killed this thing.
出土汗よりいったおきっとだ穴ペルアと試練地無石音イラコフかつて What are you doing here? サルリとしたと改ざんとキロだろう
So, like, the Castle of the Shadow Lord is like a public secret. It's like everyone knows. Everyone knows where it is. And, like, how to get there. Like, he didn't even have to collect the seals or anything. Or the fragments or whatever. Well, I mean, in a way for him, his life, I guess, kind of did end with the death of his wife. Which was unfortunate. I don't think he had much to live for. I love this theme, though. Happy New Year, Space Cadet Rick, and welcome back! How are you doing today? I hope you had a great time yesterday if you happened to do anything. Or if you didn't. Hope it was a good day anyways. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. We actually had a little bit of a party last night, and I'm a little sluggish today, so I'm not gonna play a lot. I just want to finish this final ending, and I'm gonna watch Drakengard lore videos, which should give me a little bit of context, I suppose, before I start Automata, which should be fun. And I think I'm gonna start next week. So yeah, that's the plan for today. A very chill time. How are you? Okay, let's. Let's finish this. Come on. Come on, Vice. We can do this. We can do this. I'm not skipping anything important. They're not gonna give me any additional context or anything, are they? I don't think so. I hope not. I love this song so much. Honestly, I much prefer having people over than going somewhere, because even though, yes, you have to like clean after the guests or whatever, it's a lot more, I don't know, to me it's a lot more, I don't know, a lot easier, I guess. Just, you know, have a few friends over, clean up a little bit after that, and just stay at home. I don't really tend to go anywhere, I suppose. But like, if you pay attention and like you realize that there's only like one voice after she dies, that's so sad. It's like the first time you play through it, it can escape you. But later on, like as you're playing through it like multiple times, you can clearly, you know, pay attention and tell the difference. I didn't pay attention for the first time. I think for the first time, someone else pointed it out, and I was like, "Hey, that really is."
You and Devila were like parents to me.
Those two have watched the world wither from
Oh.
time immemorial. The coolness of such a fate is difficult to imagine.
Where is she?
I don't want to do this.
I kind of love these effects of like the balls
And start fighting.
chasing you. It's fun. She doesn't really. Does she not take magic damage? I don't think she does. Like, I think I target her, but she doesn't really. Like, I think I can hit her with my sword, but she doesn't really take magic damage almost at all. Oh, she does. She does. She was just like, for some reason, invulnerable, or maybe protected by these balls thingies. Yeah, the song is so good. So good. There we go. Okay, so we saw this whole thing. We saw this, and there's that fairy tale we're not gonna read. Oh, we can't even skip it. We've read it last time, so I won't go over it again. I don't think I was offered to actually skip it.
Wake up. Please, come on to me. You haven't changed. No, I'm just here to keep my promise. I told you I don't worry. It's sorry, Emil. But you will always...
If you want to see this, if you haven't seen it, we played through it last time. Or not last time, time before that. There's everything's in the playlist anyway. I just don't wanna read through it again. It's also very sad. Okay, and now I think we go and deal with the Shadow Lord. We solve this. And we can go. Like I didn't mind playing through this multiple times, but I am hoping that Automata has a little bit less of like repetitiveness, I guess. People say so. At least. There's more. There's always more. But hey, at least you keep your levels. At least you don't have to really fight them every time. Alright. Oh, shit. Where is my... Alright. Is that it? Alright, that seems to be it. This part we know.
This ends here.
Strike hard. Hold nothing back.
I don't think the book can even hurt us. I think we can freely attack it even when it's surrounded by the pages.
How can you two hope to stand against the Shadow Lord?
Don't speak in such a manner, fool. I am nothing like you.
Go.
Be careful!
Where is he?
I know.
Hey, Sunshine. I ain't certain about this, but I think your heart is
Oh, he doesn't really.
is gone.
Yeah, he doesn't really take magic damage, does he?
It's just a bunch of white light now. What the hell's going on here?
I can't tell, Tyler. You're not the only voice in my life anymore.
Literally, the only boss was Scales.
Hate.
But we're not really hurt by him, so.
I'm a curse. A freak. I know that. But guess what? He still accepts me. He still forgives me.
Oh, come on. You're doing this for him?
I'm tired of this world and everybody in it. But I'll become his sword one last time.
Do I have like a potion or something that buffs me?
Vice, you alright?
I don't think Vice is okay at all. Honestly, I really wish we would get like a NieR Replicant and Final Fantasy XIV collab, and like get a little Vice minion. How fun would that be? You could walk around with a grimoire of your own. I think that would be dope. We'll definitely get more people to play it, I think.
Watch over Yona for me. You want me to understand your sadness? Think I'm gonna sympathize with you? I swore to protect my sister and my friends. If someone puts them in danger, they must stand aside or be cut
Yeah,
down.
that would be awesome.
Now come on!
Imagine walking around with a little Vice. Where is he? Oh man, come on.
Vice, what's wrong?
Like, everything's wrong with Vice.
You're freaking me out here, Vice.
What are you doing?
We are trying. We shouldn't be skipping this, or is it okay? I think it's still okay. Shit.
Something to defend. I have a reason to live. Shadow.
And again. Now, like I said, I could have watched the ending scene like online, but I just really want to complete it. It's silly not to. We're so close. Good morning, Wayne! How are you? And Happy New Year! Hope you had a great time yesterday if you happened to do anything. If not, hope you're having a great weekend still. It's actually good afternoon here. It's like 3:30-ish p.m., but it still kind of feels like morning. I'm still rather sluggish. Okay, last time. Last time we're doing this.
Well, ain't that precious?
I'm happy for him.
You know, Sunshine, that black scrawl has almost completely taken you over.
Yeah, I know.
But goddamn, we had fun. Killing and killing and more killing. What a rush.
Yeah.
Wait. No. No. It wasn't fun at all. I turned you into a killing machine. I spread evil and chaos around the world. But it all feels so empty now. Why? I don't understand.
Sorry. Looks like you stayed inside me for a little too long. Sunshine.
Stop! Don't be nice to me! Don't make me feel like this!
Oh god.
I'm gonna swallow you up, Sunshine. Gonna swallow you whole.
Kaine? What is it?
Listen to me. The shade inside me is growing, and I can't stop it. Soon. Real soon. I'm gonna go berserk.
I can't hold it back anymore.
Kaine, You have to fight. You have to...
Just shut up and listen to me. Emil is gone, all right? So there's...
It's funny how she actually completely relies on Emil to just kind of keep her in check. It's so precious.
Before it comes to that, I want you to kill me.
Well, I guess that's what we're doing.
Consider it enough of a request.
This time, at least. She's so strong, though. It's actually kind of insane. Can we break this?
Hell, sunshine.
I can't remember.
It's not like I can stop it. When gestalts go out of control, they lose their minds. Both of our memories will
Like
be
her, like the way
overridden.
the way she's standing is actually so creepy. I hate it.
Kaine!
I don't think there's anything. Oh, there we go.
Damn it. We have to do something.
Oh, I need to break these.
Won't.
Oh, I can't reach it. How do I get there? Like, I have no powers or anything.
With us, Kaine. I'm who I am today because of you.
Urgh, come
I'm
on.
not going to abandon someone I love. I'm going to save you. I swear it.
There we go. Ridiculous.
Well, there might be one way to save her.
Who said that?
It don't matter, so don't ask.
So how can Tyron suddenly talk to him? Like, I don't know, I keep wondering that.
Are you?
I said,
Oh,
listen.
shit.
There's a way to save Kaine's life, all right?
He said save Kaine's life, but killing her is not saving her
Whatever it takes.
life. It's saving her, but it's not saving her life.
Kaine down. And as soon as I do, you need to stab her in the heart.
No, I can't.
Fine. Don't leave. Stand around.
I don't think I fully understand the relationship between like Kaine and NieR. Like, do they? I don't know. They somehow made it so that you don't feel like they're romantically involved at all, even with, you know, them being who they are and NieR kind of growing up and Kaine being who she is. It just doesn't feel like that. It feels like they're friends and, you know. Like, they managed to completely just have you convinced that they're just friends. It's like there's no shipping of any kind. There we go. I really don't want to do this. But I have to see! I have to know!
Very nice. Now, if you want to save your precious Kaine, there are two ways to do it. One is to plunge your sword into her chest. That's what she wants after all. Freedom from burdens, freedom from life.
What's the other way?
The other way is to make her a normal human being again. But to make that happen, you gotta trade your own existence for hers. Well, there you go. Good luck with that.
Terrible.
Jade, the one who lives inside Kaine. Why are you trying to help her?
Probably for the same reason you are. Enough talk. Make your choice.
Well, here we go. Sadsies. End Kaine's life and free her from her burden. Oh my god. This is torture to watch. It's like almost for a split second it does look like he tried to kiss her, but that I don't think that's
Let's go home.
what happened.
Can you hear me? I spent years inside Kaine's body, tormenting her from within. I felt her pain, her emotions.
Oh, it is
as
a
if
kiss?
they
Oh,
were
I see.
my own. And there was so much pain. So when I say she's free now, I want you to believe me. Thanks to you, Kaine has been forgiven and saved.
But I want her back.
Oh wait, she had a final message for you.
Thank you.
I feel like replay Kaine. That's wild. That's so miserable.
We'll always be together.
That's terrible. That is freaking terrible. I just finished. I actually did ending D before ending C because I had my second choice. It's all here on the channel in the playthrough playlist, and I upload them as highlights after that. It's just this one, and I think day before yesterday I finished ending E, so I just had this one to basically finish up today to see. Like I said, I could have looked it up, but I just really wanted to to do it myself. And is there anything else after that? Did they give you like a cutscene or anything after the credits? Because I think after this one, I'm basically fully done with with the entire playthrough. I guess we played through all of them, and like I said, next week we're gonna start Automata, and I'm just wildly excited for that. I think it's gonna be. It's from what I've seen, from the little that I've seen, I think it's gonna be really good. And knowing NieR Replicant before Automata is actually so satisfying because there are like little pieces of it that I now understand. Hi Eric and welcome back! How are you doing? Happy New Year to you too! I hope it's a good one for all of us. What's up? Should I be waiting through this? Is there another, I can't remember if we got an additional cutscene or anything after ending D. And I would guess that there's not a lot happening after C. So yeah, there should be yeah, there's 5 for Replicant. Also, sus admin, hello and welcome. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great start of your new year. Yeah, we finished 5 of them. Yes, day before yesterday, like I said, we did ending E, and before that ending D. So C is technically the last one that I'm watching. I don't think there's anything extra. I'm still gonna wait for it to finish, and then we're gonna watch some videos today. Today is gonna be a little bit more of a chill stream today, in a way that I should have this here. in a way that I won't be playing too much. Instead, I want to watch the Drakengard lore videos. You guys were very kind and have given me quite a few things to watch in the Discord, in the React channel. And today, I just kind of want to understand Drakengard before going into Automata. So today we're gonna dive into that lore a little bit. I have given it some thought, and I was like, huh, do I try somehow to to get my hands on Drakengard, but it's just too much hassle and too much of everything, and I'm not gonna play through the game, so I'm just gonna watch it. Who else is gonna watch the anime? It's coming out in like a week. I'm excited. But I do want to finish at least one ending of Automata before I start with the anime. But from what I've seen, Automata is like not very fun. No, don't try. Then I won't. Like honestly, the moment I start watching videos about a game, that means that I am probably never ever going to play it. And some games, I'm not saying that they are not worth playing through. Some games are harder to play through, I guess, but the story is worth it. But I think where I draw the line is like if a game is just actually convoluted to the point that it's going to take so much of my time for just like a little bit of story and a little bit of context that I need. And there's probably a very good reason why they made NieR a spin-off anyway, so I decided to abandon that idea completely today, and not just today but overall, and just watch the videos. So if you haven't played Drakengard and if you wanted to get some additional context on it before we move on to Automata or anyway, today we're doing that, so there's something to look forward to. I don't think there's gonna be anything happening after this. Are they gonna tell me like, woohoo, you completed 5 of them, now you can go? No? Probably not, but we're at the very end, so. I love how Yoko Taro's name is just written in big ass letters. And I underestimated how many people there are with their names beginning with Y. For sure. I was like, oh, we're done, but no! It's a Japanese game! There we go. But now. Alright, yeah, sure. Okay, so we finished A, B, C, there was D, there was E, and we are done. Exit the clear day, yes. Okay. Okay. Alright, well, we saw D, we don't need to do anything else, and we have officially completed the game. Congratulations to all of us. It was an amazing game, and I think tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'm gonna release another NieR Replicant video where I just kind of want to talk about it a little bit and just give a little bit of a, just a little bit of a review and my personal kind of thoughts on the game, and that might be something to look forward to. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, and I'm very much looking forward to Automata as well. Let's see what else there is. Okay, we can safely dispose of this, and now before I move on to Drakengard videos, I actually just kind of wanted to watch the ending E explained, because there were some confusions that I stumbled upon, I guess, as I was going through E, and I was also in a kind of a hurry because I had to take my kiddo to the doctor's office, and I didn't really like, I think, mentally commit to understanding the ending, but we're gonna do it now. So this is NieR Replicant Ending E Analysis Explained and Compared. This is by Brando SP on YouTube. Feel free to check out the channel and subscribe should you want to. But yeah, we're gonna watch this one first. If you haven't seen Ending E, if you haven't completed NieR or whatever, this might be a spoiler territory for you, but there's a warning, so here you go. Oh yeah, he's fine, he's fine. He just he had to get his checkup, and I had to get like the doctor's slip for last week because he didn't go to daycare all of the days, and every time I don't take him in, I have to go to the doctor's office and just get a slip. But he was also sick last week, unfortunately. But we've both recovered, and I think we're doing pretty well. I think my ear infection is a lot better. I'm actually not in pain anymore, which is great. And I'm very happy about that because I can actually stream and wear earbuds, which is very important. Okay, how's the sound? Too loud, too quiet?
Kept you waiting, huh?
Let's do this.
It might be a little quiet.
Okay, first, let's unpack what we're talking about here. We're talking about the new ending added to the NieR Replicant Remaster Remake. I'd say there were two big significant chunks added to the game with this version up. This, and Episode Mermaid.
What's an Episode Mermaid?
By the way. So if you're interested in breaking Episode Mermaid down, you should go check it out.
Yeah, I'll turn it up a little.
I don't think it's controversial at all to say that this is the far more significant piece of content, however.
Okay.
This is a completely new ending. I mean, depending on what your definition of new is. But that's some nuance that we'll get into later. Also, we had a pretty definite link between NieR Replicant and NieR Automata beforehand, but the stuff in here just seals the deal. You'll see what I mean. By the way, you might have
is this better?
But being a close look at the definitive ending of the game, this video is going to have a lot of spoilers. Just a word of warning if you're planning to experience it for yourself. Anyways, now that we got that
I hope he's talking about
way,
Replicant.
let's get into it. So first it might be prudent to mention where exactly this new content slots itself into the game. Being the new definitive ending, you might have guessed it shows up right at the end, in which case you'd be right. You most likely know how this goes. At the end of Route D, you fight Kaine and put her down. After that, you're given a choice. You can either kill Kaine, or sacrifice your existence so she can be free of Tyrant's possession, and live out a normal life in a world you slowly condemn to extinction. Good job on that one, by the way. You know what goes down after this point. Your save file vanishes into the wind, and you watch it slowly delete itself in
I swear, that was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in game. That was so stressful.
in front of your eyes, like when you had to free up blocks on your GameCube memory card for them big boys back in the day. You get booted back to the title screen, which now has a flower on it as a reward. A heavy price to pay, but hey, you did it for a good cause, right? This is where the original game ends. Maybe it's even where your Replicant version 1.22 playthrough ends, if you didn't know to keep going. I mean, imagine a world where you didn't have the internet, and you didn't have instant confirmation by checking online that there was in fact an ending E. Well, I guess one of
I don't know how they did this. You bought the game, and then you played A through D, if you happen to play A, B, C, D, and not A, B, and D like I did. And then later on, did you receive like an update through Steam or whatever the client was that you played through? Hey, there's new content? Or was it like announced in some way? Like how did this even happen?
the things you could do is check out the trophies. Not on PSN, of course, it'd just be hidden. But scrolling down the list, something kinda sticks out. Yeah. That picture with the E is kinda blatantly obvious, but what's with the trophy name? Seriously, did you just hammer fist the keyboard 3 or 4 times and then call it a day? I don't know if the trophy name and description, both starting with the letter E, is a cool coincidence or if it's intentional. Well, dear viewer, watch this. Let's translate the trophy name from hexadecimal to UTF-8. Don't worry if you didn't understand what I just said. I don't even understand
How did he know that he needs to do that?
what I just said. But roll with it. What comes out is Kyoku Saba, which means memory server. Okay. What about the trophy description? Hikari ga mieru, which is like, I can see a light. These might seem like some cool buzzwords, but keep them in mind for later. Anyways, back to unlocking this ending. Once you Thanos snapped your own save file, you gotta hit new game and start playing again. You gotta get up to about when you fight Hook in the area with Kaine. You know how this goes. You stomp the boss out, Kaine's laying on the floor on the other side of the area. You make your way over to her, expecting to see the greatest cutscene in the history of video games.
Yes. You and I are friends now.
It's not as wait, what?
Once video games.
Yes.
It's not as funny with Brother NieR as with Papa NieR it is. You and I are friends now. What is this? Is this the original game?
You and I are friends now.
When suddenly...
That's hilarious.
It just happens. We're in uncharted territory now.
I've never seen that one.
Kaine wakes up in bed 3 years later, thinking about the people she's lost, like Emil, and even has some of his mementos littered about. She's clearly pretty frustrated that there's someone she should be remembering, but she just can't, no matter how hard she tries. Also, this is me from the future coming here live while editing this video. Judging by this loading screen letter, it seems that waking up crying isn't a phenomenon.
Honestly, I think I don't understand this idea that I guess the West wouldn't accept this premise of NieR being brother NieR instead of Papa NieR. It's so weird that they decided to just like make a whole other game because of this. Like, I don't know what it is culturally. I don't think I understand it fully, but for me it was just a little weird. You can play Old Man NieR Replicant as well in a bonus area. Oh no, it's definitely not spoiling because I already did it. I had to do it so that I can pick up all the weapons for the C and D ending. So I've already seen it, but it was definitely like very strange to me, unfamiliar, and I guess it was more nostalgic, more like an Easter egg to other people, but to me it was just like, oh, I got told by the chat that it was that it was the Papa NieR, and I don't know much about it. Maybe at some point I'll look into some differences in cutscenes and whatnot.
Exclusive to Kaine. Yona seems to be experiencing it too, and she even wants to reach out to Kaine because of it. Just something I noticed while watching the footage over again.
Oh,
Anyways,
I see.
Kaine gets out
I
of
didn't
bed
notice that.
Hold up. This is a NieR Replicant first. We got a whole new character to play as here. With all new attacks and combos, even the buttons assigned to Magic as NieR have all new special.
So Papa NieR wasn't considered as hot.
Special attacks associated with him.
I mean,
and
he's
check
okay.
Out this Devil May Cry 5 Virgil summons swords, teleports behind you, nothing personnel kid shit. This is pretty hype. They put some work into this. We get to learn about the world without NieR in it, based on some ambient dialogue Kaine has as she's traveling. She notices the contradictions in her memory, things that couldn't be the case unless a mysterious someone else was there as well.
Yeah, I do have popcorn. It's a leftover from yesterday, as we had a little bit of a party, and what I hate the most is like when popcorn just becomes like really soggy and just overall when it sits there for a while. So I decided to actually eat it now.
Kaine sets off to your home village, which is now called
We're kind of watching a movie, so
village, which really cements his absence home. On the road, you meet someone who's gonna go run an errand to the Forest of Myth, who you save from getting squad roasted by a bunch of shades. Remember, since NieR killed the Shadow Lord, things are getting progressively worse and worse. In a seemingly throwaway line of dialogue NieR has at the beginning of the game, he says that populations are decreasing.
Yeah, truly, I hate that.
And people
they're still good,
so... The Black Scrawl is the ultimate fate of all replicants, as their Gestalts no longer have a way to remerge with their bodies after the Shadow Lord was killed and Grimoire Noir destroyed.
Oh, I see.
1,000 or so years past the prologue, we can see that the Black Scrawl is still a relatively rare occurrence. We only know 2 characters that get it, Yona and the Old King of Facade. We also know that about 800 years...
So wait. Kaine never actually legitimately had the Black Scrawl, even though she had like these symptoms and stuff? Graphics were weird and he got from Papa to Daddy. Well, I guess so. He is pretty cute in like the new version. Stalking not enough, so I was just playing bland speaking Connor Fantasy Wars. Honestly, it's the worst thing that could happen to popcorn. I love popcorn, and I try not to let it happen before before it happens. I just want to make sure I eat them.
Years after NieR killed the Shadow Lord, humanity came to a complete and total end. So it can be reasonably speculated that shit really slammed on the gas pedal after that. This is also brought up when Kaine talks to this postman. Anyways, he passes his errand on to us, and we forget all about our little trip to the village. By the way,
yeah, we never went.
But when you do, Kaine just mentions how she'd just freak everyone out. Obviously, this is a carryover.
It's so much more soothing than playing it yourself, right? Well, I already did play through it, so I'm just kind of watching it so that I can get these little like bits and pieces of lore that I probably missed out on, because NieR is, funnily enough, one of those games that I just want to like fully understand before moving on to the next one. It's so interesting.
the main game when Popola asked Kaine and Emil to get out and stay out. But really, Kaine's a decorative centerpiece in the library for 5 full years, and an additional 3 years have passed since that. You're telling me the villagers still ain't chill? I could understand Skullface over there, but Kaine doesn't even look different from a regular human, and she isn't even possessed by a shade anymore. Whatever. Heading to the Forest of Myth, all the villagers have been killed, and there are these machines pouring out of the Divine Tree. These are new enemies too, so you know you're about to be in for something good. Even though they look
kind of
like
from the Junk
like
Heap.
the robots from the Junk
Yeah.
Heap. And oh god, I just want a memory alloy. Please drop. I've been in here for hours. With the enemies defeated, the door into the tree opens, and Kaine makes her way inside. It's at this point in the video where I gotta slam on the brakes real quick, cause there's something important we gotta talk about. If you watch my NieR Iceberg video, you might know where this is going.
I haven't seen that one.
Read. Since the year 2010, Jurassic Park The Lost World has been completely evicted out of my mind to make room for the new Lost World, which is Ending E of NieR. Now you might be thinking, you just said 2010, and NieR Replicant version 1.22 came out in 2021. Right, yeah, well what if I told you that Ending E was actually originally released in a book called Grimoire NieR? Yeah? Well, it's true. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I think there's a great opportunity to do some comparison work here. If you've played Ending E, which, I mean, you probably did if you're watching this video, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't, don't click away or anything, just take some ground here. Then you know there's things in NieR Replicant's Ending E that couldn't have possibly have been in Grimoire NieR's version. So easy, let's compare the two. Only one issue.
See, I don't know anything about the book.
Is
I only just recently found out that
to
it
say
even
the least.
exists.
The document available to read on the NieR Wiki is, quote, a rough translation taken from Chinese forums and blogs. And it's a bit light. More of a summary. Look, here's the thing. I don't just want to spend half of this video parroting back the events of a plotline you've already experienced. I'm trying to add stuff, break it down, you know, analyze it. And this summary just ain't enough for that. So...
Fine. I'll do it.
Now that I've read the original novella in Japanese in its entirety, I'll be doing some comparisons where I feel the novella differs from the game as we...
See, I never understood. I never actually noticed that they don't attack you back. Like the quest start the thing starts in a way that she tells you like, oh, let's kill some shit, and you basically start attacking the shades without ever even, I don't know, thinking or considering that like, I don't know, to like leave them alone. And I don't know, you don't really notice it, I guess, until you, I don't know, until you try not to attack them.
Along. Sound? Alright, let's resume. So how about up to the point where we are now, with Kaine entering the Forest of Myth? Well, interestingly, the novel starts off in media
This was
res,
so
with
good.
Kaine waking up in sweats near the Aerie being a 2 days earlier flashback. Kaine also does a bit more questioning in the novella as to what happened to Tyran, as in her perspective, he just kind of disappeared. As well, Kaine thinks over what Devila and Popola told her about Project Gestalt, whether she believes it, and whether she did the right thing in killing the Shadow Lord. Remember, by the way, since NieR disappeared from existence, that's something she thinks she did. So the supposed guilt from possibly ending the human race kind of falls on her shoulders.
That
It
sucks.
troubles her, but she decides she doesn't care. Not in an edgy sort of way. More of like I'm not too thrilled about this whole being alive thing anyways sort of way. Other than that, we're pretty spot on as far as differences between the novel and the game go. So let's continue. Kaine rolls up into the Deku Tree, and she immediately starts hearing a pair of voices who know everything about who she is and what she's done. In the novella, this is only a single voice, but there's a very good reason as to why that's become two, and we'll get to that in a second.
But why? Like, why was there only one? For some reason, like, when this started, it made me think that this was some kind of, like, I don't know, Emil and his sister reference in a way, but that, I guess, just wasn't it. But they were twins, and they just kind of reminded me of them. I don't know if that was purposeful.
After walking a bit further into the tree, Kaine comes face to face with the two figures, known as the Administrators, taking the shapes of a young boy and girl. So, you might have noticed who these voices are. They're 2B and 9S's. I wouldn't blame you for not noticing. 2B's VA, Yui Ishikawa, is doing a pretty good job of putting on a different voice.
Is this from Automata?
じゃあ目標を探す必要がありますね。
How are they here? Why are they here? Why?
Also, you know,
They sound much more creepy in Japanese.
asterisk, I played this segment in Japanese, so I don't know how different Kira Buckland's 2B voice is to the voice she's putting on here. That's something you're gonna have to judge for yourself. I'm gonna say, though, that the patterns on their clothes are probably meant to invoke the ones on your high androids. Now, I'm not saying that these are specifically 2B and 9S, but we know the androids and their personality archetypes go way further back than we're led to believe, so could be something here. But I'm gonna leave speculation about that to a potential future video. We're looking for them concrete facts right now. Now, obviously there can't have been two administrators in the novella, because there wasn't any NieR Automata to make reference to in 2010. Simple enough.
Oh,
Next, Kaine
I
cuts up
see.
a P-33 model robot while they exposit information.
So they kind of built onto it in Automata years after this showed up. So there was never an original connection to Automata because Automata wasn't a thing. I see.
Information about Project Gestalt and the nature of replicants on her. And it's time for an
information mentioned in the novella that doesn't get brought up in the game.
lightning round. Ready? Let's go. The Junkkeep robots were originally created to dispose of replicants if Project Gestalt were to fail. When Kaine picks up her sword, she has 3 rules. If it's a shade, kill it. If a human puts you in danger, kill it. If you don't like it, kill it. The administrator was tasked with controlling and using the remaining Maso in the world. No longer having a purpose, the administrator's current objective is ending the world. And finally, the novella uses Kaine's thigh
How is she level 48? I was like level 35 at this point.
as a unit of measurement. That's not a joke. After defeating the robots, Kaine follows the administrators deeper into the tree, where they explain that this is an installation meant to record everything and anything about the world. Kinda like an organic Wikipedia. You do remember the name of the trophy is Memory Server, right? Then they summon a bunch of copies of Kaine to fight her, and they pretty much push Kaine to her limit. The novella claims that the fight thus far has lasted for over half an hour, and while it would be...
They said that there's a speculation that Yoko, Rare was already mined, already had Automata in mind at the time of the book. I see. But like, are they ever going to explain whether or not that's the real connection and how they were here, and then like how they're canon in the other game?
You know, really damn boring to constantly fight the same enemies for 30 minutes in a game, we can infer this to mean Kaine's been at it for a really long while. All hope seems lost when a familiar face shows up.
Kaine-san, 大丈夫ですか?
Oh, that's Emil in Japanese. That's adorable.
はい。
It's our boy, Emil, with some, extra appendages? You know, when I was like 10, I'd look at my Machamp Pokemon card and wonder what it would physically feel like to have 2 extra arms, but that's a tangent for another day. In the game,
I still
Kaine
think
doesn't
about
ask
that.
about these arms until later, but in the novella, she's pretty quick to be like, hey, what's with the freaky arms, Skeletor, man? In the game, Emil says there isn't time to worry about that, and in the novella, he just tells her that more's better than less. So, what's the real reason? The actual answer
Adorable.
is, if you read the NieR novella Around the World in 80 Days, you know our boy didn't
Pretty much this is the base of the system in Automata and what created the androids. So they were the first androids of their kind?
exactly have the easiest time reforming his body. Going into the full thing would understandably take too long. So let's just say that 1 or 2 magical mishaps later, and 2 extra arms isn't the worst mistake you can make when it comes to putting yourself back together. Emil comes in for the assist and focuses on breaking the barrier the administrator set up while Kaine continues fighting her clones. All the while, their voices taunt her, saying they're impressed with how far a replicant like her has come. And, I mean, they're not wrong. Given that Kaine's immense strength and ability to use magic was something given to her by Tyran, she does seem to be keeping pace pretty well. Again,
Yeah.
we turn to the novella, which states that when Tyran left, Kaine lost her ability to use magic, but her ability with the sword and, quote, abnormal physical strength remained. I'm just gonna assume they're stretching this to explain why she can still literally disappear, swing her swords faster than the eye can see, and KO like 6 shades at once.
Well, technically you want to believe that if you're using a sword, once you're done using that sword, you kind of, I don't know, maybe you keep like an amount of that skill that wasn't just your strength, but also something that you've learned along the way. Whereas with magic, if you don't have like magical abilities anymore, you just don't have them and you don't get to use them. But the sword is something that you've physically been, you know, using and doing, so I'm guessing that that has something to do with it.
It ain't my job to decide the limits of that. Like I said, it's Maso. I ain't gotta explain shit. Furthermore, she says that using magic was never really her thing, so she's not too negatively affected by its absence. Now, while NieR was strong, a lot of his power came from the fact he had Grimoire Weiss to back him up, while Kaine is currently completely sans magic. All that was a pretty roundabout way of saying there's a good chance that Kaine is the most powerful replicant to exist, which explains why the administrators are marking out over her abilities. Emil finally manages to break through the barrier, creating an opening for him and Kaine to continue forward. It's at this point we gotta take the novel, chuck it in the trash, and glory kill slam the lid on top, because NieR Replicant is about to go off the rails. They coalesce back together in the ending, but for now it's time for our video game to go off on its own. I mean, the novella couldn't have had this stuff in it. The content being referenced didn't, exist at the time. If you want to know what I mean, let's just say you'll automatically figure it out.
That on top of the reference?
There's a white area that kinda looks like the top of the Lost Shrine, but there's some, obvious differences. Something seems familiar, but not familiar to Replicant.
So it's like all like white and weird and not very clear because the memory isn't complete. I don't know, that's kind of how I understood it. Like she doesn't fully, I don't know, have all of her memories back, so this is just kind of like a half-baked version.
Some dialogue between Kaine and Emil as they make their way through this new environment, and it really goes to show how close these two are. Sure, Kaine probably has feelings for NieR she couldn't express earlier, because Tyran would have team killed her if she showed emotions other than hatred, and Emil definitely has a crush on our former protag, but these two have something that possibly goes deeper than that. They understand each other because of the mutual ire they draw from the people living in the villages, something they get over by mutually supporting each other. They each haven't had this support in 3 years, and now they're finally reunited. Sure, they had NieR, who unconditionally supports them as well, but by virtue of being the hero, someone who can freely enter towns, earn the trust and respect of the people, and generally doesn't face much ostracizing, he doesn't really understand them the way they do each other. One line that particularly stuck out to me from the main game is when NieR decides he wants to show solidarity with Kaine and Emil by sleeping outside with them. By the end of the conversation, Kaine rejects his idea by saying he shouldn't waste his time, which is pretty indirect, but in Japanese, she straightforwardly tells him no and says to drop it. Whether that's because she sees it as a meaningless gesture and she doesn't want to subject NieR to a needless burden, or she genuinely doesn't want to compromise the one-on-one time she has with Emil, a time where she shows a more vulnerable side of herself, noted when she tells Emil to shut up because she's got an...
If there's any sort of romantic involvement between Kaine and NieR, I would guess that that's something that would affect that, because Emil is kind of like her best friend. And this whole other relationship, I guess they're just, it goes to show that they're probably two very different relationships, and she just kind of wants to keep them separate. Kind of similarly to how some people wouldn't talk the same in the same way to their like romantic partner and their best friend. It's like, yes, you will treat them both with respect and you have like closeness to both of them, but you just don't say the same things. So I wish we could have gotten a little bit more insight into like what was actually going on between, like, I don't know, Kaine and Emil, like their conversation and stuff. We got a little bit, but it would have been nice to get like another cutscene or two to just kind of, see their time together.
An image to maintain is a decision for you to make. Anyways, second tangent aside, Emil seems to have the same brain fog as Kaine and Yona, as he can remember NieR kinda like how you can remember the level layout of some SNES platformer you played once as a kid. He even says that he could remember making a promise to someone that they would go eat something delicious together. You get to a replica of the Shadow Lord's castle, and Kaine then fights a boss, a memory core sitting at the end of a long room. Doing this fight, you might have noticed something. A boss at the end of a hallway that doesn't retaliate when you reach it. Having to cross a long room dodging patterns of projectiles a total of 3 times. Yeah, you might have noticed that this fight is pretty similar to the final fight with the Shadow Lord at the end of a regular playthrough. Something to keep in mind is who we're trying to bring back right now. This core represents the world's memories, as well as Kaine's memories, something that's been sealed away. Kaine slams open the core while simultaneously inventing some new expletives.
I think the fact that he was level 48 is why he had a much easier time than me. I was like 35 or 36 and it was hard. Should have played more.
And the screen fades white. And hold up. That loading screen do be looking kinda different though. Yo, wait a minute. That's the NieR Automata HUD. The life bar, the map. Again, I mentioned
Is
this
it?
before, but I could speculate on this all day, and the video would explode further than it already has if I got into why this is. And to be honest, I don't want to go too far into unconfirmed speculations. But let's lay down one ground theory. I'm gonna say the administrators are based on number 2 and number 9. Prototype androids created by Zinnia, the founder of Yorha, who formed the baseline personalities for 2B and 9S. I mean,
Okay.
their voices are the exact same in both languages, which was a
Oh.
deliberate choice made for a reason. What we're seeing here could be the groundwork for the technology that would eventually lead to the founding of Yorha. As much as I want to
see.
keep going with this, the length of this Word document is already starting to scare me, and I'm not trying to rewrite War and Peace here. If I ever do a potential video in the future exploring the links between NieR Replicant and NieR Automata, as well as all the side content in between, I'll be sure to explore this connection further. So this area is extremely similar to NieR Automata, particularly when diving into an android. Probably best seen when A2 dives into 9S near the end of the game. It's here that Kaine has to do battle with her memories, summoned up by the administrators, taking the forms of various bosses from the game. Something that's strongly suggested during the main game is that Kaine can hear Shade's voices. Shade's, other than Tyran, I mean. NieR slaughters Shades at a rate that would make Doomguy go wide-eyed, but Devil's Advocate, you could argue that he was ignorant as to what he was actually doing, if not willfully so. When Devila and Popola finally spill the tea, he's already come too far to turn back, and you could argue that because they, quote, betrayed him, he wasn't all too inclined to listen/believe what they were saying anyways.
He
NieR
still
makes the
kept
biggest
killing
oopsie in history
Shades,
and
so...
accidentally ends the human race, but he was at least completely convinced he was in the right. Yoko Taro himself stated that one of the themes in NieR Replicant is centralized on this topic. You don't necessarily have to be a bad person to do horrible things. You just have to believe that what you're doing is right. Surely, of all those who have gone through NieR Replicant, there are probably a fair amount of players who do believe NieR was in the right. And this isn't trying to dunk on people for not understanding the story or not seeing the bigger picture. You're forced to go through this game in NieR's perspective. There's bound to be a large number of people who empathize with his goal, whether they acknowledge or fully comprehend that what they're doing through him as a player is wrong or not. Seriously, I joke about how NieR closed his eyes, went, "I do not see it," and put a full stop to humanity, but it'd be hard not to empathize with a character you've shared a goal with for dozens of hours.
Yeah, I guess.
If you're that player, fighting the bosses while the administrators taunt you over what you've done is the way the game forces Kaine, and to a greater extent, forces you to acknowledge your actions.
Well, Kaine was the one who had to carry this burden that whole time. Like, she had to, like, well, she didn't have to, but she chose to kind of go along with it because NieR went along with it, and she basically did it because she felt like she had some a certain duty to her friend or whatever. So I guess for her it was a little bit more conflicting because she could also hear those voices.
Kaine, and by extension you, through your current control of her, lose all plausible deniability. The game rubs your face in it, and at the very least, forces you to come to terms with your actions. Kaine's response, whether she chooses to own up to her actions or continues to push forward, is up to her, and similarly, the same thing is up to you. You can acknowledge what you're doing is wrong and still continue. I mean, it's the only choice you have. This ain't a choose-your-own-adventure game. It's not like you can influence the direction. Or you can assert that you're correct. Either way, by
You can, like, stop playing because you don't agree with it.
directly broaching the topic, it means you can't just sit on the fence anymore. Are you, NieR and Kaine, right or wrong? What's your reason? Everyone likely has a different opinion and reasoning on the topic, and
NieR's very oblivious the whole game, and I often felt like he was has some kind of hero complex at some point because all that matters to him is his sister. In a way, yes, but also I think that there's more to it than that. It's also there. It's also Vice and like his perspective. I feel like they just didn't understand what was happening at all, and I feel like everyone was so attached to NieR at that point that they either didn't question it like Vice didn't, and you would expect like from an such a, I guess, intelligent entity as Vice was to at least think about this. And like from Kaine, I guess she put her friendship first, and maybe that's kind of where she made a mistake. Like where I disagreed with her is like when she didn't like tell NieR at all, at least about like any of these things that she knew about. Like she knew about the robot and the little shade. She knew about like those baby shades. She knew about the the first shade in in the shrine room, like the one that became friends with well, the little shades that became friends with that one robot. Like she never actually said anything about that, and it makes me wonder like how NieR would feel about this if he knew before he was too far gone. At this point, I'll stop. I need the end. Like at this point, yeah, you just don't care. You just want to finish the game and see what happens.
I think that's one of the strengths of NieR Replicant's storytelling. Time to switch gears back to the story again. Once Kaine finishes curb stomping some shades, she's forced to confront her worst memory. The one shade I don't think anyone's sympathizing with. The one that killed her grandma and stole her life away. Big lizard boy, Hook.
Yo, I hate that boss so much. But she knew, so I think that this is partially her responsibility because she should have. They should have known. Like she knew what was at stake, and she still went along with it. I don't know. What? They muted her curses in the Japanese version, or was this like in the video? I hope that this is just a video.
Kaine puts up a good fight, but she's getting her shit pushed in. Hook is a lot tougher this time around, since the administrators gave him a few enhancements. All the while during the fight, she's shouting that she can't remember—
In Japanese it's censored? What? Are you kidding me? Oh, no way. Is it the video creator or the game?
remember that certain someone, even though it's on the tip of her mind. Hook summons up weird shadowy versions of the villagers from the area, who taunt and insult her just like they did back in the day. That's pretty harsh, man. All in all, Kaine's pretty much neck deep in her worst nightmare right now. Just like before with the clones, all hope seems lost, and Kaine's pushed to her limit when another assist comes in. Hey everybody, it's Grimoire Weiss, who didn't disappear, apparently. Or maybe lives in the data space. I don't know, and he's come here to help Kaine out. Though he can't resist throwing a little shade at her in his entrance.
Pretty sure it's censored in Japanese and they uncensored it in West because they felt it was wrong in other languages. I don't know. I've never heard the Japanese version of the game, so this is all new to me.
Grimoire Weiss's magic has this, like, digital style effect to it applied for this boss fight, and it's all brand new. This might be a personal opinion, but I think it looks healthy.
It's kind of weird to make a character like Kaine, to make her curse a lot and then beep her because she curses a lot. It's very contradictory, isn't it?
Cool. They didn't have to do this, but it gives a nice flair of visual personality. Kaine actually says some genuine words of thanks to Weiss for coming in to help her, but they both quickly agree that that's kinda out of character, and they're more comfortable with their usual banter. It's not that Kaine doesn't appreciate Weiss, or anything like that. Them taking the piss out of each other constantly is just their way of expressing their affinity for each other. They're completely their true selves with no fake politeness when they're together, even if Weiss constantly calls Kaine a thought as if he's got a quota. Side note, when Kaine thanks Weiss, he asks her, "Are you in your cups again?" And I have no idea what that means. Google seems to claim it's some old-fashioned British slang for being drunk, but in Japanese, he asks her if she's eaten something off, so let's go with that. With Grimoire Weiss's magic, Kaine turns the tides on Hook and manages to squeeze out a W. This creates a giant burst of light that slowly dissolves the administrators. Hey, a giant burst of light.
Yeah, definitely cultural.
Remember what that trophy description was? As they disappear, they say that possible futures are blending together. This could suggest that by altering the records of the world and humanity, Kaine's creating a timeline where NieR exists. Kaine then makes a big emotional speech where she decides what life means to her and throws a few expletives NieR's way to bring him back.
So she didn't go back to the past. She literally changed the timeline and somehow went back into the time when NieR was still young in a way, because like at the end of ending E, he was I guess young. He was young.
Back.
私は決めたんだ。誰の指図も受けない。私は刃になるって決めたんだ。お前の刃になるって決めたんだ。絶対に 絶対に取り戻してみせる。ふざけんな。勝手に消えて勝手に消えて、どういうつもりなんだ。自分が生きてる意味は自分が決める。この命も私が勝手に使う。だからとっとと戻ってこい。この腐れ野郎。
You then have to input the name you used for your own save file. You know, the one you deleted after ending D. This is a good way of giving the player a sense of control over the action, same way they got it when they had you input the name to delete it. But fellas, you know someone, somewhere on this wide green earth, one single person got to this point and realized they'd completely forgotten what they named their save file. There ain't a single walkthrough or strategy guide on the planet that can help you with that. Weiss disappears again, and maybe it's for real this time. I don't know. He's done this before. You know how he is.
So basically, they copied like the part from the
This
book.
is when the book reconvenes
That's pretty
with
cool.
where we've ended up. Kaine calls NieR back, and a giant lunar tier flower sprouts up from the ground. Kinda reminds me of the imagery from when the tower sprouts up in NieR Automata. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Giant flower? Ah yes, Drakengard 3.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Look, here's the thing.
No, it's not. We're gonna watch that
I'm
now.
fairly sure this isn't the same flower as the one in Zero's Eye. Simplest reason why, the novella has this specific flower scene, and it was written in 2010, before Drakengard 3 was a twinkle in anyone's eye. Now, I'm not saying they're not thematically related. There might be some common imagery of flower equals beautiful thing equals evil going on here. It's just too suspicious that not only NieR Replicant and Drakengard 3 have giant flowers in them.
Morgan, hi, and Happy New Year! How are you doing? Welcome back! Hope you're having a good weekend.
Even NieR Reincarnation got in on that party. The camera zooms in on the middle of the flower, where Kaine's holding onto NieR. I'm gonna be real with you, full transparency. When I first read the novella back when, NieR in my brain was always associated with old pancake-faced Papa NieR. Cause, I mean, you know, that was the only version of him our Square Enix overlords allowed us to play at the time. All that is to say, when this cutscene played and she was holding Twink NieR, I had a small brain turn-off moment, even though it makes a lot more sense for it to be Kid NieR in retrospect. Kaine makes another big speech, and with that, ending
So, in the novella, the same cutscene, the same moment happened, and she was still holding on to naked NieR, but it was Papa NieR. But no matter, we had a nice time together. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I had a really good time yesterday as well. So today I'm not playing games. I'm just gonna watch these lore videos because I don't think I'm capable of it.
to a close. You did it. You're done. NieR Replicant is forever finished. You get your old save file back, so now you can suffer trying to get that trophy for harvesting a lunar tear flower or something. Great. Epic. You can go back to the title screen.
Oh, you can do that? Harvest a lunar tear? Game story is wild. It is. And we're gonna watch Drakengard now because I'm not gonna be playing the game. So today we're going through all the lore stuff. I think the novella, meant small NieR, but as much as only Papa NieR, it wasn't clear. So it must have been really weird.
And there's a new option in the menu. It's just a short thank you message from the cast, but hey, it's a nice
Yeah,
touch.
that was adorable.
では、改めて、プレイヤーの皆さん、このゲームをプレイしていただき、せーの、本当にありがとうございました。
Okay, for those of you who have played the game in Japanese, I do have a question. If you played it or if you watched or whatever, when you were as a player in the facade, the people from the facade who were like speaking like an alien language or whatever, since that language is Japanese in the English game, what language is the facade in? Like, do they also just speak Japanese or?
Hey you. Yeah, you. Thanks for watching. This video might have been a bit long for a section of a game that takes about 2 hours total, but, I mean, there's a lot here, especially when you bring the book into it. Hope you learned something today. I sure learned a lot making it. Anyways, if this video gets 1 million likes, I'll do a karaoke cover of Ashes of Dreams. Anyways, till next time.
I want to see how many it has. Make sure to subscribe to this person. Their name is Brando SP, and apparently they make really good videos. And the video only has 7.4 likes, so it might at some point reach a million. I hope so, because that would be fun. But yeah, we're gonna watch 3 more videos today, hopefully. They're all Drakengard videos. I just need to quickly go to the bathroom and turn the light on because it is getting dark. So I will be right back, and this is what we're gonna watch next. If you think that there's like a particular order in which I should be watching them, let me know. But I think overall we're okay. So this is before NieR the complete Drakengard timeline explained. This goes through route ending A, B, C. I guess this is Drakengard endings, D, E, and Drakengard 3 overview, closing note. Okay, I have only one question. Did he prepare the karaoke version of the song beforehand, or must he do it instantly when it reaches the milestone? I have no idea. I would guess that it would have been a good idea to prepare it beforehand because he might be, a little older. When this reaches a million likes, it could be a few years down the line. And yeah, I hope that there's a video out there, just ready to be published. That would be cool. Okay, I'll be right back, and this is the next one that we are going to watch. Alright, we're ready. As you can see, I still don't have a regular chair, and it is one of the things that I am currently working on. I moved, and I decided that the chair that I used to use is just beyond repair. So now I'm sitting on this wildly uncomfortable chair, and I feel like it's hindering me slightly, but it is something that I am at the moment working on, and hopefully sooner rather than later, I just get a new chair. Anyways, this video is before NieR the complete Drakengard timeline explained, and it is by LimitForm72. Make sure to also check out the channel and subscribe should you want to. But yeah, let's watch this. I never got to play Drakengard. I have never well, I haven't played Automata yet. We should start on it next week, but I think it would still be a pretty useful watch right now. Let's go.
NieR Automata was one of the most popular video games released in our generation. One of my favorites, actually. Surprisingly enough, though, not many people knew of the existence of its prequel, NieR Replicant and/or Gestalt. The NieR Replicant remaster, annoyingly called NieR Replicant version 1.22474487139, is set to release in April of 2021. And this will be the first experience Minnie will have with the first game in the NieR series.
See.
But what if I told you there was another series that came before the first NieR game and created the NieR series itself? That's right, I'm talking about Drakengard. My point of making this video is to help those who want to get the story and lore that started it all for the NieR series. It's also to help those understand the references that are made in the NieR game, since surprisingly enough, there are a few Drakengard references that tie the story together, and some of those references can even be found in NieR Automata. This will be a complete summary of the Drakengard games besides Drakengard 2, due to the fact that it was not directed by Yoko Taro, the usual director for both the Drakengard and NieR titles. This means that Drakengard 2 and its events are not canon to any of the other games in the series.
That's strange.
I plan to tackle these games in a very specific way to try and make it.
So how did this happen? He directed the other ones, but why didn't he direct the Drakengard 2? Was there like a disagreement or a fight, or like he worked on something else, or do you know?
Those watching to understand. As is tradition with any Drakengard or NieR game, there are multiple endings for each of the Drakengard games. For Drakengard 1, there are 5 endings, endings A, B, C, D, and finally E. Ending E being the canon ending that leads into NieR Replicant. For Drakengard 3, there are also 5 endings, but only 4 of them, those being endings A, B, C, and D, are in the game, and are only canon to their specific timelines, as the concept of multiple timelines existing was introduced in Drakengard 3. The final ending, ending E, which is from a novella written in the perspective of one of the major characters, is canon and leads to its game counterpart. For Drakengard 1, I will go into pretty good detail of the first route and its ending, but every ending that follows afterwards I will be as brief as I can be, with the exception of ending E. With Drakengard 3, I will give a somewhat brief description of all of its events.
So were people unsatisfied with Drakengard 2 at the time because it wasn't directed by the same person? Like, that's a big decision to not have someone so important direct those games, isn't it?
That happen and tie in any loose ends and references with facts that you may wish to know. I think that's about it for what I wanted to cover though. Without any further delay, let's get into it. The events of Drakengard take place in a medieval fantasy world called Midgard. The world of Midgard is protected from falling into
Midgard. That sounds a lot like Midgar.
deep chaos by the 4 seals that protect it: the seal of the ocean, forest, desert, and the final seal, the seal of the goddess, which happens to be a woman who is ultimately chosen to be the seal. If the seals and
those are not the seals that we go out and collect with Vice. That doesn't have anything to do with it, or does it?
Goddess are destroyed, evil beings known as the Watchers will enter the world in order to destroy humanity. The Empire, a power led by a mysterious cult of red-eyed individuals, believe that if they were to destroy all the seals, they will be granted good fortune and prosperity. The story starts with Prince Kaim, our main protagonist, who is in the middle of a war with the Empire, fighting alongside his army, the Union, to protect his sister, Furiai. As fate would have it, she is the current goddess of the seal. Kaim and the Union must protect her at all costs. During the battle, Kaim gets struck from behind and gets mortally wounded, but continues—
Oh, so no correlation. Oh, okay. Let me just do one thing. This is gonna be easier. Oh, yeah, I didn't turn the chat on. Yeah, this is gonna be better.
He used to try and fight his way into Furiai's castle, where she is currently located. As he stumbles into the castle gates, he finds a wounded red dragon on the ground. As he stares at the dragon, memories of his parents who were killed by a dragon race through his mind, and Kaim starts to get angry. As he's about to finish the red dragon off, she speaks to him. Kaim stops and asks the red dragon if she wants to live, and asks her if she wants to form a pact. In the Drakengard universe, a pact is normally a contract between a human and a beast. If both parties happen to be on the edge of death, like in this case, they both get a second chance at life. If one of the parties dies while in the pact with each other, both will die. They are more commonly known as pact partners, and they essentially become a shared entity. The human gains supernatural powers as well, but it comes at a cost.
So he kind of becomes a dragoon.
The human must pay some type of price for the pact, and in Kaim's case, he ends up losing his voice and the ability to speak. Pact partners are also able to communicate with each other telepathically. You can tell what a human gave up when forming a pact by where their pact emblem is located on their body. In Kaim's case, it's located on his tongue. After Kaim forms his pact with the Red Dragon, we are introduced to both Furiai and Kaim's best friend, Eniwart, who happens to be a musician. We learn that Furiai and Eniwart were engaged to each other, but because Furiai had to become the goddess of the seal, it was called off. Eniwart suggests
With her and I played this game together. Story as well. Did you play it at the same time, or does it have some sort of like multiplayer mode?
Just that they go to the elf village as it would be a safe place to protect Footy Eye. Unfortunately, by the time the group got there, it was too late and the elf village was attacked, no longer making it the safe haven they figured it would be. The red dragon then hears a voice. This voice belongs to another one of our main characters, Hierarch Verdele. Verdele is the spiritual leader of the Union and the protector of the Four Seals. He also happens to be in a pact with a petrified dragon, and because he is in a pact, he is able to hear and communicate with other pact partners. He tells
So he also had to give up something, right?
the group to bring Footy Eye to his current location, a temple in the desert, so that she may be protected. NieR and Footy Eye proceed to the desert temple, while Kaim and the Red Dragon stay behind to investigate the area further. Kaim then finds a dying elf that tells him that the Cult of the Watchers has a shrine and that they took everyone there. A collapsed villager asks Kaim if he can help retake the village from the Empire, which happens to be located in the Fairy Valley. Kaim agrees and goes off, but not before we are introduced to probably one of the most controversial characters in all of the Drakengard series, Leonard. For the sake of some people watching who may not like the theme associated with this character, and for the sake of YouTube not coming after my soul, I won't go too much into detail about him, but instead leave a link.
Okay, why is he? Okay, I do want to know like what it is about him. It was a single play game, and I'm not big fan of fighting stuff, so we played the game sharing together. When one dies, lose both controls. Oh, I see. That's actually the most fun way to play. I played a bunch of games like that with my friends back in the day when, like, I don't know, I would visit a friend and we would only have like one PC or vice versa. Those were really fun times.
Link in the description that explains this character in more detail. The long and short of it is that Leonard is the man that lives in a forest with his three younger brothers because his parents were killed by the Empire. While Leonard was away from his home for various reasons, he came back to see that his three younger brothers were killed. This leads Leonard to feel as if he has nothing else to live for and attempts to end it all, but ends up dropping the knife. A random fairy comes along to mock and torment him, and then he decides to make a pact with the fairy. Leonard ends up losing his eyesight as a result and meets Kaim afterwards. He decides to follow Kaim because he hopes that he will eventually be killed as a result of traveling with Kaim. Back to the main story, we hear the Red Dragon tell us that Verdele's voice is gone, which means something may have happened to him, NieR, and Footy Eye. Kaim rushes to the desert to find that Footy Eye is okay, but NieR and Verdele were captured by the Empire. Kaim and the Red Dragon go towards the Imperial Dungeon where they believe their captured companions are located. Kaim successfully.
This is a hack and slash game, right? Not the story and like the fighting, so he liked the fighting, so it was one maniac who tried to make sense of the events. I'm kind of similar way. Like if a game is just famous for its good story, but also kind of notorious when it comes to like its, I don't know, problematic gameplay or whatever, I would be inclined to play on like easy mode to get to the story, and I have no problem with that.
He manages to rescue Verdele, and he tells us that NieR was taken to a different prison. He also states the motive of the Empire and what they are trying to accomplish. They are trying to summon something called the Seeds of Resurrection, and the only way to do that is to break all of the seals. We then flash back to NieR. He is being mentally tortured by a mysterious individual who is reading his thoughts back to him. Eventually, though, his mind snaps and his eyes go red, which signifies that he is under control by someone or something. Kaim and Verdele make it to the desert seal only to find that it's been broken. The party is then introduced to a second side character, Adeosh. Much like Leonard, Adeosh doesn't really play too big of a role in the grander scheme of things, so if you wish to learn more about her character as well, there will be a link in the description. The long and short of her character backstory, however, is that she's an elf woman who has gone insane because her family was slaughtered by Empire forces. Going through her story-specific level, it brings our party to the Seal of the Ocean, which has also been destroyed. Kaim and the others eventually return to camp, where they are then greeted by NieR, except this time he's been broken from his torture and is influenced by something. He reveals that he has made a pact with a black dragon, sacrificing his ability to make songs and sing like he used to in order to gain strength that he wants to.
This sucks. He basically had to sacrifice his job for this.
Protect Footy Eye. Kaim knows that something is up and stops NieR from proceeding any closer. The two then start fighting each other, but Kaim is easily overpowered. As they fight, Kaim realizes that NieR's dragon is the same dragon that killed his parents and rushes in to attack it, but luckily the red dragon protects Kaim from its attack. NieR ends up taking Footy Eye and leaves Kaim behind. After this, Kaim and the others realize that they now must storm the Imperial lands and try to make their way to the castle so they can rescue Footy Eye. While on the way, the party meets the—
I love how YouTube, like the captions, translate Footy Eye as Footy Eye.
The final side character, Sere. Sere is also a victim of the Empire forces and lost his family as a result, though he does still have one family member left, his younger twin sister, Mana. It was made apparent that Sere's mother loved him and only him, and eventually led his sister, Mana, into the mountains and abandoned her.
That
As he was looking around
sucks.
for his sister, he ends up forming a pact with a golem, sacrificing his time, which means that he will never grow up and can never die from old age. The two join Kaim because they feel they will eventually find Sere's younger sister. After adventuring a bit further, the Red Dragon hears the death cry of the fairies, which signifies that 3 of the 4 seals have been broken, which just leaves Footy-Eye as the last remaining seal. The Union has gathered in a central location for what seems to be the final battle between them and the Empire. The party storms the battlefield in an attempt to help the Union, and after a difficult battle, the Union has won the fight. Or at least, that's how it seems at first, until a few magical bombs are dropped by the Empire, wiping out a majority of the Union's forces and taking away their victory. We are then shown a cutscene of NieR talking to the Priestess of the Watchers asking to kill Kaim. Afterwards, we are locked into another fight with NieR. During the fight, NieR leaves.
What kind of gameplay is this? What?
And Kaim quickly follows after him into the floating fortress where Footy-Eye is being held, but by the time Kaim reaches her, it's too late, as the Priestess of the Watchers had already killed Footy-Eye while Kaim and NieR were fighting. It is then revealed that the Priestess of the Watchers is none other than Sere's younger twin sister, Mana. The Red Dragon then states that every seal has been broken, and that the seeds of resurrection have been sown all across the land, and it is now the end of the world as they know it. NieR comes rushing into the room to find a dead Footy-Eye, which snaps him out of his trance he had been in since he was first captured. Mana then starts to chant a phrase belonging to the Watchers, and by the twin voices that play during it, it's clear that she is also being controlled by the very same group that has been responsible for everything thus far. NieR, who's been overcome with grief, decides to take Footy-Eye's lifeless body and comes up with a plan. He believes that if he puts her body into one of the seeds of resurrection, it will bring her back to life so that they can be together again. Though one fact that NieR isn't aware of is that the seeds aren't only known as the seeds of resurrection, but they are also called the seeds of destruction. Kaim catches.
She's kind of a corpse at the time of him kissing her, right? That's unnerving.
Up with NieR for one last battle between old friends, and Kaim is successful in stopping NieR from fusing Footy-Eye with the seed, and NieR flies off to an unknown location.
Wait, they're what?
Kaim catches up with
Seeds of Destruction.
Oh, okay. Between old friends, and Kaim is successful in stopping NieR from fusing Footy-Eye with the seed, and NieR flies off to an unknown location. Kaim reaches Mana and is about to end her life, but Verdele steps in and tries to cast a spell on her. It fails, and Mana.
Yeah, that is very disturbing. Also, GNet, hello and welcome back. How are you doing? And Happy New Year!
Is powered up by
this game is messed up. What is this?
After one last long battle, Kaim and the Red Dragon defeat Mana. After the battle, while still under slight control of the Watchers, Mana is at war with herself. She begs Kaim to kill her for her wrongdoings, but Kaim refuses, and the Red Dragon states that she has to live with that guilt for the rest of her life. I should remind you all that Mana was originally led into the mountains and abandoned by her mother. Eventually, after being alone for so long and hearing the voice of the Watchers, it caused her to be controlled. There is much more of a backstory for Mana and her family, which I will make sure to explain more in detail once we reach Drakengard 3, so keep it in the back of your head. Right after, the Red Dragon asks who should be the next seal so they can prevent this catastrophe from ever happening again. Verdele thinks,
oh, so the seal dies, it gets broken, and then they have the opportunity to turn someone else into a seed, and not the seed, seal. And a seal is essentially like a Horcrux, in a way. The game's theme is what you're willing to pay to get your wish granted. Yeah, they start off with this dragon theme, I guess, where you, like, I don't know, give something to, like, gain a pact with a dragon or whatever. This is messed up. This is still a bit confusing to me, even though it breaks it down really nicely. But I think over time I'll get it, especially with all the videos that we're gonna watch today.
But soon after, the Red Dragon offers herself to be the next goddess of the seal, since no human could ever rival her strength. At this point, the ritual to create the next goddess of the seal begins.
But what's the price that she pays for becoming the seal?
The Red Dragon is on the ground in pain, and Kaim, for the first time since the story started, sheds tears over his companion. This is the point where the Red Dragon tells Kaim her name for the first time. The Red Dragon is known as Angelus. After Verdele finishes making her into the next goddess of the seal, she fades away, and that marks the end of Ending A, which is known as the anguish of an unsmiling watcher. Now that we have covered the real bulk of the game, I will quickly go over endings B through D, and once we finish, we will finally arrive at the ending that started it all for NieR, ending E.
I see,
For
I
ending
see.
B, we will...
So it makes sense that I don't understand anything yet, or the relationship between NieR, because there's no relationship just yet. Kind of down, you decide only what suffering you are in through this fact. Wait, you choose what you're gonna give up, or the nature just kind of like chooses it for you in a way? Dragons equals angels and human equals demons. Is this like the way it's presented in the game, or?
Point where Kaim and Inuart were fighting each other in an aerial battle. From this point, Inuart escapes from Kaim with Footy Eye's body and finds one of the seeds of resurrection. This time, he's successful in putting Footy Eye's corpse into the seed, and while everything seems to be going well, a monstrous Footy Eye emerges from the seed and kills Inuart. It seems that if a human is put inside one of the seeds, they are turned into a monster whose sole purpose is...
So he saves her, puts her in the damn flowers, she resurrects herself, and then kills him. That stinks!
...is to wipe out humanity. The final battle for ending B is between Kaim and his monstrous sister, Footy Eye. Kaim ends up victorious, and as he stands with his sister's corpse in his arms, he realizes that the fight between him and his sister isn't exactly over yet because the seeds have made multiple copies of the monstrous Footy Eye. This is ending B, Flowers for the Broken Spirit. Now this ending takes a little bit more explaining as the localization of one of the scenes was messed up a bit, translating it from Japanese to English. Luckily, Kaim makes it to where Footy Eye is being kept before she is murdered. Mana starts to speak, and it seems that what she is saying is what Footy Eye truly feels of her position as a goddess, but also tells her true feelings about her brother. Footy Eye looks to Kaim. He turns his head away, which prompts Footy Eye to take a nearby dagger, and she proceeds to end her own life.
Holy shit.
This was a bit confusing at first, but when I looked deeper into why she would overreact like that, I found that in the Japanese version of the game, it is pretty much implied that Footy Eye holds romantic feelings for her brother Kaim, and that's why he turns his head away from her out of shame, and hence why we get such a heartbroken response from Footy Eye. Anyway, Footy Eye ends up dying again, and while Inuart tries to take her body to a seed, he ultimately fails this time and dies alongside her. From this point, Angelus points out that a human is at the altar, and it ends up being...
This is about the most messed up story that I've ever heard.
Mana. She tries to summon a dragon but ends up getting killed by it instead. What? By the time we reach the altar, Angelus has taken on a new form and states that she wishes to break their pact. It's stated that the dragons were originally created by the Watchers as tools to be used against humanity, but eventually became powerful enough to go against the Watchers themselves. Dragons are starting to revolt against mankind, and Angelus is no...
No, wait, I meant NY as New Year. No, I'm very far from New York.
Different. The final fight of ending C is between Kaim and Angelus. After a long battle, Kaim ends up winning. He destroys the seed and hears hundreds of dragons outside. He looks at Angelus one last time and runs outside to face the threat that hovers over mankind and meets an unknown end. This is ending C, a companion's eternal farewell. For ending D, we start off at nearly the same point as we did with ending C. We are exploring the Empire Castle looking for Footy Eye, but taking a different path leads Kaim and the party to Mana. Sarai recognizes his sister and steps in to protect her and tries to get through to her, but the influence of the Watchers is too strong and none of Sarai's words reach her. Sarai blames himself for why his sister is the way she is, and after a moment of silence, he asks Golem to kill Mana. Right after Mana's death, it seems as though victory was achieved, but with...
Like, each and every single one of these endings is just terrible. What the hell is this?
With her death comes the end. The Watchers, or Grotesqueries, which they are otherwise known as, end up falling out of the sky one by one. Later, Eriosh ends up being devoured alive by the Watchers. In an attempt to kill them, Leonard sacrifices his life. The Queen of the Grotesqueries, better known as the Queen Beast, rises from the ground and is the final boss for this ending. Angelus brings up the...
They kind of look like the babies from like that Nirvana, the album cover.
Point that Sarai had made a pact with Golem and how he had given up his time, and says that if Sarai were to break his pact with Golem, he should be able to save the world by freezing the Queen forever. Kaim and Sarai agree with the plan, and they send Sarai over to the Queen. During their attempt to...
Oh, is there a lag? Really? It should be okay. I can check it. Let me take a look. Are we not good? Let me see. Huh. A lag, like audio versus video, or I'm looking at it right now, and it's looking okay. Sorry about the echo. I had to check. Like, what kind of lag? See your lips moving but no sound? Really? Let me watch my own footage and let me see. I'm looking at. Are you sure? I'm looking at my footage on Twitch. Are you sure? I'm looking at my footage on Twitch. And it looks okay-ish. Let me check out the YouTube footage. I think it might be your connection because I'm looking at it both on YouTube and on Twitch, and it's looking okay. I'm not getting any dropped frames notices of any kind. Let me check YouTube. Notices of any kind. Let me check. No, YouTube. I think it's you. I think it's you because I just went to both of the streams and it should be okay. I don't know. Let me know if it persists, but try to refresh.
To get Seri over to the Queen, Kaim and Angelus are killed as a result. Seri breaks his pact in the area around him, and the Queen freezes the time around them, forever trapping them in a black crystal and saving the world. This is Ending D, the wild...
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. These things happen, and it's definitely my interest to, you know, to keep it going.
Dreams of a deluded child. Now finally, here we are, the canon ending that leads to the creation of the NieR franchise, Ending E, the end of the Dragon Sphere. In this ending, we pick up where we left off right before the party sends Seri off to the Queen Beast. Instead of sending Seri to finish it, Kaim and Angelus decide to directly attack the Queen Beast. They unleash the time consumed by the Queen, which causes the portal to open. Kaim, Angelus, and the Queen all fall through it to an unknown location. They all end up in modern-day Tokyo.
Oh,
After
what?
one of the hardest final boss fights ever created, Kaim and Angelus defeat the Queen.
Is this the boss fight that you told me that was like the most annoying fights ever? That is purely the reason why I shouldn't be playing the game?
Queen. By defeating the Queen, her body breaks down into a chemical unknown to Earth's science, but is very similar to the look of sodium chloride, or salt. This element is known as meso. The meso from the Queen causes a syndrome called the white chlorination syndrome to come into existence. Any human that catches the disease is
oh my god, is this how the plague started?
Forced into making a pact with the gods that created the Watchers. If they agree, they are turned into red-eyed monsters known as Legion, and if they refuse, their entire body turns into pillars of salt. Angelus and Kaim are shot out of the air and killed by the Japanese Air Force. While it is unknown what happened to Kaim's body, Angelus's body ends up being impaled on Tokyo Tower.
That is insane. That is actually so wild.
Only to be retrieved and stored for research purposes by the Japanese military afterwards. The last thing I will leave you with, so that I can give you some food for thought, is that the source of the red-looking magic in NieR is a result of the meso used from Angelus's body that they later experimented on. This is where Drakengard ends, but the start of NieR begins, is what I would like to say, but we still have Drakengard 3 to cover, and there are some important aspects that you...
Okay, I don't fully understand. I don't fully understand the what is it? The white chlorination? Like, is that what caused the... What did he say? Is that what caused, like, what they said was the black scroll? Or was it... I don't know. I'm gonna have to... I think I'm gonna have to rewatch that section. Or maybe they're gonna explain it later. I haven't had to leave because of the musical sense. How, like, is that the only, like, musical fight in the whole game?
Before venturing into NieR Replicant, let's get started. Now,
I don't understand this part. I have to rewatch
the
this.
From sodium Kaim causes the portal to open. Kaim, Angelus, and the Queen all fall through it to an unknown location. They all end up in modern-day Tokyo. After one of the hardest final boss fights ever created, Kaim and Angelus defeat the Queen. By defeating the Queen, her body breaks down into a chemical unknown to Earth's science, but is very similar to the look of sodium chloride, or salt. This element is known as meso. The meso from the Queen causes a syndrome called the white chlorination syndrome to come into existence. Any human that catches the disease is forced into making a pact with the gods that created the Watchers. If they agree, they are turned into red-eyed monsters known as Legion, and if they refuse, their entire body turns into pillars.
But who are the actual red-eyed monsters in NieR? Explanations later. Oh, okay. Then I think I understood this part a little bit, and I'll just listen to
Let's
it.
get started. Now, while
So this is
Drakengard 3
3,
may not
right?
seem as important as Drakengard 1 is to NieR, it's actually quite the contrary, as Drakengard 3 is actually a prequel to the first Drakengard game. Understanding the backstory will give further details to not only the event.
Drakengard 3 canonically happened before Drakengard 1? So it's like a... Oh, okay.
That play out in Drakengard 1, but also explain some of the references made in the NieR games as well. Let's start with our main character, Zero. Zero isn't actually her real name, but her real name is unknown. Zero grew up in a very abusive home with only her mother. For some reason or another, Zero never blamed her mother for her cruelty towards her. Her mother then sold her off when she was a child to prostitution. Ever since, Zero's had nothing but a terrible life. She would do anything she needed to do in order to survive, which included killing a numerous amount of people, but eventually contracted an illness. Zero was caught and thrown into a cell with 5 other girls who had been caught for trying to conspire against the Lord of the Land. Those same 5 girls were subject to horrible torture. All of the girls died one by one until Zero was the last one remaining, and that is when her illness caught up with her. Upon her last moments, Zero gazed upon a beautiful pink flower that rose up out of the ground. Zero eventually dies, but the flower revives her by taking root deep down inside her. Zero became a tool of destruction due to the influence of the flower and how it wanted to destroy humanity.
It's sure if it's a NieR raid with the black and white waves, but only as a shooter fight with a catch in the end. So basically they made a little bit of a replay, but okay, I get it, I get it. Oh, and Wayne, don't worry about it. These things absolutely happen, no worries.
It then gave Zero the power of an intoner. An intoner is a godlike being that possesses magical abilities through the power of song. Later, Zero attempted to destroy the flower by ending her life, but that resulted in the flower creating 5 more intoners based on Zero's memories of the 5 girls that were in a cell with her and splitting Zero's powers among them.
Holy shit.
Those are called 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 respectively. Zero sees the creations of her intoner sisters as her own fault, which is why the main events of Drakengard 3 revolve around Zero trying to kill all of her sisters, so that she may rid the world of the flower that aims to destroy humanity. Zero eventually finds a dragon called Michael. While enemies at first, the two get closer with time. Zero's aim in trying to find a dragon is simple enough. It turns out that the dragons and the flower are deeply connected with each other, and that the only way to get rid of the flower from the world is through the power of a dragon. Once Zero has killed all of her sisters, it will be Michael's job to kill Zero in order to rid the world of the intoners and the flower once and for all. This is when Drakengard 3 begins. Zero and Michael team up and take on the 5 sisters. Things don't end up going well and Zero loses her left arm. Michael also ends up dying but reincarnates and is renamed to Mikhail. In defeat, Zero and Mikhail go into hiding for a year before attempting to face the sisters once again, and it is then decided that
like, how many sisters did they catch before this happened?
She will go over the sisters one by one. This is where I will dive into Drakengard 3's endings and what they end up being canon to. As far as ending A goes, Zero successfully kills all of her sisters.
Oh, so it's purely biblical. I see, I see.
Dies, and Zero is killed by one's clone that she made by sacrificing one of her ribs, except this clone is a male, who we will refer to as Brother One for the rest of the video.
Okay.
After killing Zero, Brother One goes on to create the cult of the Watchers in the image of the dead intoners, and ends up masquerading as one herself. This ending leads to a manga called Shi ni Itaru Aka, and follows Brother One in the result of a world with just his cult and a single intoner. You may also be thinking to yourself that One and Brother One look suspiciously like 2 other Drakengard characters we know, and you would not be far off the mark, as the characters Sere and Mana are descendants of Brother One.
Oh, I see, okay. Did you play Dance as a Revolution where one should talk to display mid-fight and you only have sound to deal with? That sounds like a horrible boss fight. Thanks for not letting me play it.
While it's not exactly important to know that little tidbit of information, that's just one of many references made within these games. As I have stated at the beginning of this video, none of the other in-game endings of Drakengard 3 actually connect to Drakengard 1, but soon after the game's release, a novella for Drakengard 3 called Drakengard 3 Story Side is a novelization of the game and basically recaps all of the events that happen in the game from the perspective of Brother 1. This novella details the 5th branch, that being ending E, that directly connects Drakengard 3 to Drakengard 1. It also covers and gives more detail on different aspects of the series, such
Is
as
he
the
gonna
cult
go
of
over
the
them?
Watchers, packs, and the seal system that was used in Drakengard 1. I also stated near the beginning of this video that this was the game to introduce the concept of multiple timelines, which explains the multiple endings that the games have. There is a central character who is introduced in Branch C of Drakengard 3 who is aware of the multiple timelines. This character's name is Accord. She is an android whose job it is to record the goings-on in all the different timelines that occurred during the events of Drakengard 3. Funnily enough, Accord is mentioned in NieR Automata in passing as someone who supplies the weapons at the
Yeah, I was wondering about the rib, like if that was like another one of the references.
shop in the Resistance camp. The fact that this Drakengard character is in the same universe as NieR is pretty interesting, but for now that's all we really know about her at the moment. There are other instances in Drakengard 3 that raise a lot of questions in the minds of people who have played all of the Yoko Taro games. For example, in ending D of Drakengard 3, Zero has killed all of her sisters, so she lets the flower bloom within her. This transforms Zero into a giant statue and it spawns the rest of her sisters. After an incredibly frustrating rhythm game, Mikhail effectively destroys and seals the Atoners away. Accord comments at the end that she feels sure that Zero is still alive and that they will meet again. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but while in this form, Zero and her sisters have an uncanny resemblance to the Queen Beast that appears in ending E of Drakengard 1. Nothing's been confirmed as of yet, but it certainly leaves some food for thought. All in all, Drakengard and NieR go a lot deeper than what I've covered in this video, and while this video was an attempt to try and help those better understand the lore of the two franchises, I would still very much recommend that anyone give the Drakengard games a try. They hold a very special place in my heart, and the storytelling, the characters, the music are some of my...
No, I mean, I'm not gonna play the game, but the story is actually so disturbing. I wish the game was just a little bit more, like, play-friendly.
my favorite things ever in a video game. For all the NieR Automata fans out there that haven't played the original NieR but will do so when the game drops in a few days, I just hope that you're ready for what's coming because it truly is an amazingly wild ride. I hope it was a help to those out there for what this was. I tried to cover all the more important things that I figured people should know, but also left a lot of optional things out so that people still have a chance to go back and play these games if they so choose, and encounter new things as a result. If you made it to the end of this video, I thank you so much. All I ask is that if you enjoy—
Alright, we're gonna watch more of them. We have 2 more that I want to watch, but do make sure to subscribe to LimitForm72. I don't know what kinds of videos they make or whether it's just the... okay, they do, I'm subscribed on my other channel where I normally subscribe to things. They do, they have a, they actually did the Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn timeline explained and Kingdom Hearts and all these things, so they seem to have a lot of cool content. So yeah, make sure to definitely leave a subscribe here as well. We're gonna watch other videos that you gave to me as well. This one is by K Bash. I don't know who that is, but make sure to subscribe there as well. It says obliterating my mental health with Drakengard. I'm not sure if they're gonna go through the lore bits that we heard. Is this like a parody or? Let me actually read the description. I can't. Okay, I can't figure out if this is like a real review or of a sort or not. Kingdom Hearts is a good recap. I love the points he's up. Since we're gonna play Kingdom Hearts this year as well, I will be making sure I remember this channel as well, and we'll go through those videos also. And let's check out this one. And hopefully I learn a little bit more about the game as well. I want to see what I'm missing.
Hey, how's the game going? La 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 la. La 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 la. So,
What?
Drakengard, huh? Allegedly a series of video games, functionally an elaborate torture machine, this Dynasty Warriors meets Ace Combat franchise is the brain demon of infamous developer Yoko Taro. I don't talk much about individual devs, but Taro's vision is central to the big picture of Drakengard, or Dragon Dragoon as it's known in Japan. 2 things. I'm aware that reviewers—
I thought they wanted to name it Dragon Dragoon. I didn't think that was the official name. That was Mana for Drakengard 1. Which one? This? Or what are we talking about?
or Dragon Dragoon as it's known in Japan. Two things. I'm aware that reviewers have a tendency to imply that a single dev is responsible for a game, and I know Taro is not the sole writer for the games he worked on. But we're focusing on Taro for expediency because, frankly, it's time to face the music, sir, for your crimes against voice actors. What will the verdict be?
Oh, but I just love getting sweaty and sticky.
The other thing is
what?
Spoilers going forward, but I really do think you're
the dance in the beginning is literally mana in the game. Oh, I see. So basically that's how crazy the game gets you to become.
Average person should just watch the cutscenes online, or a review. Now, patrons funded this by reaching a goal. Far be it from me to divine the intentions of my mysterious benefactors. Do they mean good or ill? How can something so helpful hurt this bad? Do you people enjoy this? This is part 1 of the Drakengard and NieR full series indoctrination. I mean review. Darkengard! No, really, the palette's washed, the light's dim, and it's a bit... yikers. In parallel dimension Europe, where goblins, fairies, elves, and trolls are kept in check by a mostly united Europe, continent is plunged into chaos as the good-aligned Union faces an evil empire. Oh, and the United Nations of Europe rebranded.
Oh, so they have so they have red eyes because they're controlled. I don't think they showed me this particular cutscene before, but now it's a lot more clear.
Guard. Well, from a literary standpoint, we are going places. Drakengard's a game you might enjoy if your brain looks like this. Or this. And I don't mean the story, right? That's okay. I mean everything that happens between you and that controller really, really drags. Oh, I get it now. Setting aside the alternate Earth lore dressing, the major premise is that two beings, presumably of different species, can enter into a pact and become...
Is this pretty much the same kind of review that I just watched, but just a lot funnier?
Soul bonded. Apparently it can heal you of your wounds. Apparently you can pull your soul out if you want to. Apparently a lot of things, because the full extent is never explored or explained, and it's mostly ignored for the sake of convenience. How's that literary standpoint going? Places, I hope. The game intros with a boring battle, but really begins with a pact between a young murder boy and his dragon. If only it stayed that simple. The game flows between several segments in any given chapter. Somehow, nigh oxymoronically, its strength is varied gameplay, though it's known for repetitiveness, except in truth, it's comprised of small break sections and the meat. Turns out the meat's a real thick ribeye, and you gotta tenderize that juicy bastard exclusively with your gamer thumb. This stuff kills me.
Talks about the problems of the game gameplay and Drakengard 2 just for review. I see. So this is the video to convince me not to play it, essentially.
Like, guys, game devs, aren't you 30-ish? Even late 20s? Do you not feel thumb damage when playing your own mashy games? Do you know how much your game hurts? So the segments. There's a number of little top-down sections where you mostly run to the end. You can even ignore the enemies. They lead to text cutscenes. Sometimes they're fun. There's aerial segments where you blast a bunch of stuff until you win. Not gonna lie, best parts of the game really make you feel... sorry. Gamer trope sickness. We have fun here. And the schmeat. Ground combat's just... You want me to say sucks, so you can tell me to piss off in the comments, don't you? The crickets in the walls are chirping and I hear what they say. Ground combat sometimes takes 40 real-life minutes to get through, and you have a basic combo, a couple jump attacks, a running attack, and some magic.
Fun? Maybe that describes it.
It may as well be a weaker Dynasty Warrior.
And I love how meanwhile he has Bloodborne games in the background.
Sorry, Dynasty Warriors. It ain't fun, and everyone's gross. Let's talk characters. Probably should have TW'd the unholy out of this vid. I mean, gee, what didn't they put in? We got murder, incest, mental abuse, talk of side, philia, zoophilia, baby eating, necrophilia, child killing, ripping off Evangelion for a meme. Whoops, they made a whole spin-off from that. Yeah, not for the faint of heart. So the protagonist, Kaim. How to describe him? He's somewhere between Guts and Devil Boner. Yeah, I'd say that clears it up. He's mentally ill. Kaim is never without Angelus, his Red Pact partner. Despite extreme differences, the pair partnered up to live. Angelus is probably the best character with the best lines and believable character development. Shame for the other characters. Now, Pact partners, but I think only the humans, have to give something up for the Pact to—
So dragons entered this pact with no consequences whatsoever. This sounds pretty bad.
Be ratified, and Kaim lost his voice, so we're spared any insane murder babble. I respect it. Furia is Kaim's sister, and Taro's answer to boring women in video games, but I'll bring it up later. Her once betrothed and friend of Kaim is Inuart, the bard, who was effectively cucked by religion, so Furia could be the goddess slash seal slash escape Inuart, which only ends well. The actual party characters, the one who you can call on in battle, are all pact partners. So, rapid fire, guy who lost his sight, woman who lost her womb, kid who lost his ability to age. Sucks, less sucks, but still pretty bad when you think about it.
But okay, what I don't understand about it is whether or not his mind like grows, or is he just like trapped in a child body, but like his mind grows old, or does he just like remain a full-on child?
Leonard, you're not the blind swordsman. Now, Ariosh wants a baby in her, so she goes around trying to eat babies. It's like her only character trait. She's not even one-dimensional. We're talking 1 point on the sheet. Approved! Oh, and her pack beast doesn't matter. Now,
Wait, wants babies so she eats babies, or wants to have a baby so she eats babies? I don't think I fully get it.
Leonard, the Nard dog. Leonard, I'm not playing your made-up translation rules. Well, Leonard was jacking it in the forest while thinking about kids. Marinating on this. And when he came back, his village was torched. So a fairy says, "That's it! Kill yourself!" And they forge a pact. Bleak. Approved!
Oh, so that was the problem with him. I see. Oh, he's just trapped in a child body. That's not too bad. That's kind of like those little people from Gridania, like what's their name? Are they called the Watchers, right? Or not the Watchers. What are they called? Like the Seers. The Seers. That's not too bad. That's actually the least hurtful, I guess. Although it sucks to be a kid.
Sarah is the last character to join, a child who conveniently hugs Leonard at about crotch level. Approved!
YouTube actually assigns ad values by video, digitally reads and interprets your script, gotta flag your own content, which helps determine ad rates. So anyway, I'm
Sarah made a pact with a golem and is mostly a burden. Not even a joke kid hit can cheer me up. Anyway, these diverse and wacky adventuring pals are joined by Vertile, the priest, who made a pact with something that never appears and lost his hair in the process. Vertile is useful for chastising Kaim, the player, over murder, and introducing the verified by lore fact that pact partners can telepathically communicate by tuning into Pact Partner FM, as long as they're not too far away. Presumably this was done...
This was approved because that's exactly what they wanted for some reason.
So the silent Kaim wouldn't exclusively be bothered by his sneering dragon. Unfortunately, she's also the funniest character, and everyone else is annoying, one-dimensional, or a boring scold. Everything the party does is done to defeat Mana, the leader of the cult of the Watchers, effectively the emperor of the Empire, and Sari's sister. I don't think a game has ever deliberately asked me to kill a child. Taro, could it be you understand?
But okay, so if he is stuck in a child's body, does his sister age? Because they seem to be around the same age, or is the time span just not enough for you to realize that she's gonna age, or she would have aged, but he wouldn't have?
Stan? Now before blowing the lid off this thing, I want to take a sec to talk mechanics and nerdy stuff. Drakengard gives you a bunch of weapons to level up, like the RPG it is. Drakengard lets you block attacks and dodge roll. Drakengard has a little mechanical depth, but, well, that's a bunch of crap, because you don't need anything but jump attacks. And I'm serious, like, okay, do what you want against whatever, it's not impossible, just annoying. Gotta wade through a lot of guys. Oh, fuck! And it's daunting how many dudes the game's willing to throw at you. I mean, my weapon has a pretty big AoE, I'm sure we'll... No, the only fights that should set you back are the Chaos Dragon and the floating babies. Look, we'll talk in a sec. Just the most fun I had in this very long playthrough was figuring out that jumping strong attack roasted the dragon and flailing wildly with jumping light swings decimated the babies. That's it. That's the peak. Email
what
me
the hell is
$100
this game?
For hot game tips. How do you talk about the story?
Apparently
It's
her
simple.
pact
The
made her
characters
like
go
that.
through
So
the story, doing the thing.
So she also didn't age because of a different reason, because her pact made her like... No, he didn't age because that was his pact, but what about her pact? Did she have like the same thing with what?
and the world keeps falling apart regardless. More monsters, more bodies, more weapons, fewer friends.
Welcome to a world without song. Die, die, die!
Shut up. The world turns into a hellscape. Kaim flies to Mana's lair, confronts the girl, and then we finally kill the kid. Oh my god. Come on! This is it, people! Giant child dragon shoot! Why do I play video games? Ah! Oh yeah? Taro's games are infamous for their many endings, but you know what? They tell you exactly how to get to them, and usually it's not that bad. Tends to give you new perspectives on characters, open up side stories, and new endings. Only, this is Drakengard. You know what that means? What do you mean Kaim's killing kids? They put child—
Well, technically he's not immortal. As they said, he just can't die of old age. But from what I understood, he can die. He's not immortal, is he?
Soldiers in a video game? And he's killing them? Someone approved this? Okay, it says here that Furry Eye never loved Inuart and only really loved her brother. I didn't know you could even have incest in video games? Bah, typical English censorship. Oh, don't do that! Jeez! Oh my god.
I wonder if these are actual like voice reactions as he was playing through the game.
You doing this for real? Yo, mulch that pasty dish-faced cretin! Okay, we got floating stone babies. Careful, Ariosh. There's way too much cholesterol in those babies. Oh! Yo, is she the Gregnant? Is she the Gregnant? Oh, I need to collect every weapon in the game and level them up to unlock the final ending that spawned NieR.
Oh.
Hey, pull up some random LP and link them in the description.
I wonder what the patron goal for this was. I hope it was worth it.
I did that. That was me. I did that!
You know, as a newcomer to Taro's creative vision, I was struggling to understand the purpose of the work. I'm not trying to call the guy a hack. Obviously, but I have questions. Taro has fans, and I mean Taro, not just Drakengard, because of his creative vision. So let's talk. The game's got emotional moments, not many for me, but the ending with Angelus that demonstrated character development, you know, that was a vibe. The game has little details like stories for each weapon, even breaking down different sections of the chapters into verses, infusing song or poetry into the aesthetics. Every part of the universe seems alien and unknowable. It sucks the player in wanting to know more, maybe because it plays—
Like, how long does it realistically take to get all endings? Is this like a 100-hour game?
With subjects beyond anything a normal game would broach, maybe to get to the next insane bit of dialogue. And despite Taro's obvious interest in dark subject matter, the canon ending is hopeful. Part of me wants to read the story as cynical and unlovable. Each party member was more or less devoid of meaningful development. It's almost like they were made to be unsatisfying one-note facets of contrarianism. That is, many are trope subversions, but they barely rise above it. And yet, here's a fairly charitable take on a file who gets spiritual redemption via self-sacrifice for the world. I think
and funnily enough, he gets devoured by babies. What?
Taro wanted to convey a universe that was fundamentally damaged, maybe beyond repair, but worth preserving regardless. There's something in that. Okay, let's make this a speed bump, like a fat raccoon you hit going 90 on the 40 at night, and you'd feel bad, but it turns out the raccoon was the DMC reboot. So Taro was screwing around at Square one day, making a lot of noise as usual, and they took his toys away while he wasn't looking. Very poor sportsmanship overall, fellas. Let the boy have his toys. Taro was busy with other projects, and Drakengard 2 got handed to some other guy who probably doesn't even—
Okay, so this is what the other video didn't actually explain, because we never got to hear what the Drakengard 2 was about. I don't think.
And have a fan. Jeez. So he got credited as the video editor and was creatively involved, but didn't get final say on the whole. At first I was mystified by fan dislike for this one. I mean, I'll tell you straight up, I didn't find the first game uniquely compelling. Like, yeah, it's the most, wow, really? They did what? Game I've ever played. It's inherently remarkable, but between gameplay and story, I struggled to love what it was. Feels more like Buddy got away with murder than penning the next great video game, but after playing this, Drakengard 2 improves the gameplay in a few places, tanks it in others, and more or less tears the limp-skewered spirit of the series out through its throat, and parades—
So it overall got a lot less, and was just like a slightly better gameplay, but like less impressive story.
It around for fun. It's a tortured shell of its former self. The scenario is super simple. Same world, but nearly 2 decades older, and this kid, Noe, is definitely a normal human. And that guy definitely isn't a bad guy. Anyway, the bulk of the plot is a slow turnabout narrative. What if the bad guy, the good guy? What if the good guy, the bad guy? What if I cared? Some of the gameplay shakeups are missing, and we're left with the big old schmeat levels and the flying segments. The flying is touchy and gets extremely annoying and difficult by the end. The first game didn't put too much in the air that could earnestly trip you up, but believe me when I tell you that this time, they're packing heat.
I'm sorry, fighter jet!
The ground levels, though, you know, the last game wasn't great. Drakengard 2
I love how he also seemingly like recorded himself as he was playing, and there's like these moments of him getting so frustrated.
for puzzles and platforming, and none of it is really hard, but that for sure does not make it good. Most of it's spent whacking dudes, which feels cleaner overall, and jump attack supremacy still applies. But it's still pretty stiff, and the dash attack's gone. That was half the fun of the last game. Still, every level's a micro content piece. They don't usually drag forever. The major shakeup is party members, cause Noe isn't talented and can't swap on a dime between different pieces of metal, so you'll rely on your friends, often temporarily.
Can
so
you play as them?
A good sword and don't worry too much after that. They're actually set up so their unique weapons pulverize very specific enemy types, so they're always useful, and you don't need to invest too hard. So the characters. Oh yeah? Just like that? See, Mana didn't die in the canonical ending. She was kept alive to atone for her crimes that she really didn't have much say in. She was corrupted by superhuman deities and abused by her mother. But go off, Kaim. Hold that little pap smear to account. That's justice, baby! So the entirety of the evil empire was divided into districts and subjugated by the Union. Mana included. You can imagine where that ends up going. Noe himself is a total bummer. I mean, really, Kaim killed kids for sport. Kaim drank the blood of the innocent. Noe fights poverty people and just rambles, justifying his awful class traitor behavior to himself like, boo boo boo, justice, I think, boo 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 boo. Shut it up, bitch! Legna, imaginably clever, guys, is extremely important, but not yet. For now, he's the only rational and witty character, as it goes. Unfortunately, the majority of the characters just... whatever, man. Eris is a lawful stupid paladin type who just can't believe that Noe would end up siding with the oppressed and running off with that blonde hussy. Really, Eris? Really? You can't believe that this young man would run off seeking warmth? Why lawful good isn't very endearing in this case? Gizmor, the head of the justice doers, is literally just evil.
It's really feeling like this plot of like Drakengard 2 is a bit more bland and has like, I don't know, little to nothing to do with like the original, except for like that Mana thing. Everything else seemed like a little bit like, I don't know, unfamiliar, I guess.
Evil. Like, he's got a semi-compelling backstory, but he's played up so cartoonishly evil, any sympathy kind of melts away. Mana's a great character, a more filled-out version of what we originally got, until she goes stupid.
The gods love children who love gods. That's why I'm loved, even though I'm such a bad girl.
And Yurik is here. Oh,
what?
Yeah, back in Drakengard territory. His secret is so diabolical, you'll never believe what they put in this time. Yurik might be gay. Like, as though that could even matter at all. So daring. Granted, I'm sure for some weirdos that was a whoa moment, you know, respective to the time period, but like, I'm sorry.
So that was the most spicy thing that they put into the game. Tried to replicate the problematic topics but tamed down. Yeah, it feels a lot more censored than like the first and the third game for sure.
Leonard. Well, this doesn't sound at all like Drakengard. Where's the connection? Where's the crazy stuff? Don't worry, turns out Kaim's back with Angelus, and they're both totally deranged. And we're gonna undo their characters for the sake of drama. I clap. I applaud. The bravery! And all these idiots do is waltz about the land undoing the seals that require human sacrifice to uphold, killing a pile of idiot pack partner generals in the process, who... yeah, no thanks. Dead.
I love the art, like the portrait art of the characters. That's really good, actually.
Dead. This fight is stupid! Just kidding, use jump attack. Boss fights are pretty tough overall, and honestly, the game picks up a lot partway through with events involving Yurik, Kaim, Gizmor, and Sarah. I don't think they're worth individual comment, but to be fair to any fans of this installment, it does get a disproportionate amount of bile hurled its way. It's lower key.
Like, after beating all these games, I guess, and going through the gameplay, it becomes a total acquired taste in a way that you can't really not like the games for what they are, I suppose. unless you are like made to play through it or whatever. If you willingly went through it and got no particular reward for it, I think I don't know, you just kind of become a fan because the game trained you to, I don't know, to feel accomplished of what you've like been through, and I don't know, proud of it, and somehow you, I don't know, enjoy the torturing experience and you just become a fan. How does that even work?
Key, it's lower rated, but it's not totally worthless. An attempt was made. Before we get to the end, though, can I talk nerdy stuff again? Part of why I like the combat is the parry system, something you didn't do in the first. And the enemies more or less force you to parry if you want to win, so you end up feeling pretty good about yourself and your skills by the end. It's not even that difficult, gives flashy sparks. Nice, but the weapons. Like, grinding was rough before, your weapon couldn't level up mid-combat, but here it takes so long. I was grinding weapon levels by chanting upwards of 500 hits on enemy soldiers for an XP boost so I could have a useful weapon. My real mistake was looking up a guide, finding a cool sword, whoops it's the Nobuyoshi, because of course I did that, and it's funny, but every time I leveled it up, it got weaker. That's weird.
That is weird, right?
So anyway, I had to grind that iceberg down to actually start damaging enemies. I'd say my thumb enjoyed that. Now this game has endings, just like before, so big reveal time.
Oh, I definitely think that a lot of games actually proc that syndrome. It's like, I don't know, you are in a way trapped and like enslaved by this horrible, I don't know, not horrible gameplay necessarily, but just something really tough that you're going through, and in some strange way you get attached to it for sure.
Once upon a time, Inuart took Fury Eye's corpse to the quote bone casket.
Oh, I know plenty about that bone casket.
And did an uh-oh, and now Noe is the child of the man with the dragon pact partner and the goddess / seal bearer. And people say there's no Taro in this game. This new breed is presumably supposed to wipe out mankind, but that's stupid. So instead we save everybody, including Mana, who went crazy, so we jacked into her skull a la Mega Man Battle Network and pummel the child. And Legna's a very naughty boy. Shame on you, Legna. And that's it. You want the other endings? I hope you enjoy playing bad action games 3 times through. You don't like that? What a coincidence!
Hey everyone! As you know, we've had a ton of fun.
He looks so aggravated and just completely devoid of sanity at this point. It's so sad.
Playing Drakengard, and now we're gonna play 3!
How do you describe Drakengard 3? Maybe something like this? Oh my god. Shut up! I blasted through the main story, the side branches, the DLC, and the final ending. Was it worth it? Not for a second! Okay, mild exaggeration. It had some moments that made me think, hey, good job guys, but to be fair, they were all DLC, and that's not the place you want to be! Drakengard 3 is a demonstrably better game than its forebears in terms of raw gameplay, even when the FPS drops to less than 2. Oh god. Oh my god! Because at its worst, it's a boring, unbalanced masher, and at its best, it's f***ing awesome.
Oh, give me the damage, baby!
It's almost totally stripped of extras, streamlined for convenience, and even the grinding is offset if you're doing the DLC. It's very much a game of rushing between story cutscenes, though, so for any kind of aspirational design or variance, I think only those allergic to cutscenes should play it.
She's like, I love how she's actually all bloody. Like, they don't shy away from that at all. Every time you appear way more descending sanity, it looks like it.
And you might have picked up that I'm a little excited here, in spite of
it gives a lot of value to the video.
everything, and I am, because your boy Taro's back in the gamer chair, and let's be clear, there will never be another Drakengard 3. It's a totally unique package. It might be one of the single worst experiences, one of the schlockiest, trashiest games I've ever touched. That ain't nothing. That takes raw talent to produce.
It's so sad that like the game is so famous for its story, yet gets, you know, reviewed like this for its gameplay. That sucks.
So premise time. The game's set a century before the first, which is great because it's completely tonally borked. A little breathing room helps. Zero and her sisters, named 1 through 5, are all intoners. Magical girls. For real though, it's not a joke. That have superhuman strength, use song to call on giant monsters with the help of a disciple, and need constant relief. in the nether regions with their disciples.
Said without a hint of irony, I can feel my soul leaving my body.
So Zero goes to kill them all for some reasons with her dragon Michael. Gets blown up, Michael dies, and gets reset to factory settings. And the adventure to paint the land red begins. There's only one problem. Mikhail, the young Michael, is very baby. Gameplay. So you do a lot of levels back to back. They're exactly one notch tighter than the levels of yore, probably because of the walls, but they get old quick. The color choices are sometimes okay, but the game's a lot to look at, like overly bright, minimal contrast, way too many effects, and splatters. Yes, you can turn the blood off. No, you can't cure the performance. On occasion, you ride Mikhail. These suck like bad Star Fox levels. Great.
This reminds me of those, I don't know if you've ever played, like, Warblade. Do you know, like, those meteor showers that, like, when you swallow this one buff, and then you have, like, this minigame where you have to avoid the meteors, and if you, like, go through all the meteors, you receive, like, a bunch of, like, points and stuff. It's exactly this way.
Alternatively, you can ride him in a few levels, and it controls surprisingly well. It's pretty meaty and fun. Of course, you collect weapons, but getting back to basics, Zero uses them all herself. Occasionally, you're forced into the spear and the chakram in the main game, and the fists are a welcome change of pace. God, I never get tired of that. Oh, and your friends. Friends. We're gonna have to talk characters now. What happened, guys? Used to write semi-compelling cardboard. So what happened, guys? You know, credit where it's due, I like Zero. She's awful, just reprehensible in almost every way, but she gets development. We get to see the snark screen evaporate a few times. Not bad. Mikhail is literally the only consistent force for good in the story. He's a charming character, except for the totally unnecessary wyvern racism that we're chalking up to dragon blood memory. Kind of a blemish on a non-cynical element, but I respect the need for dimensions. With those
So the dragons are racist towards wyverns. Amazing.
Disciples, though? Dito, Five's disciple, horny for blood, guts, gross and sadism. Dorito Boy's a direct subversion of his uwu soft boy appearance. It's not terribly endearing. Decadus, Force disciple, a middle-aged brawler and perfect gentleman, except for the endless, unbearable masochism grunts. Okay, that's enough! Would you quit? Sent, Two's disciple, an annoyingly attractive man and perennial idiot, only likable with DLC. Hard pass. And Octa, the disciple with the biggest member, known for nigh exclusively gets caught putting it in every depraved place and literally measuring his art mid-battle. Also, he's 22 and intercourse aged him. I'm so unbelievably tired.
What?
They're all awful. They had the chance to make compelling characters.
He's 22 and intercourse aged him? Is that real? What the fuck?
Characters with stories. Show's awful. Spoilers, they're just doves made human. It almost makes sense that they're one-dimensional idiots, but damn. And it gets in the way. There's a couple scenes where it's obvious Zero feels totally isolated in the world.
I love how, like, no matter what kind of characters they are, I love these videos because they actually make the game sound interesting.
Doesn't count anyone among her friends. You almost feel something for their loose camaraderie, which, like, she goes around murdering their pump pals, so realistically their relationships should be somewhat strained, and they blow every last bit of goodwill on Pulitzer.
I need 72 straight hours of before I'm ready to go for combat.
Worthy. As for the rest, it's just, how did NieR...
Like, would I even get away with streaming these games? Probably not.
and Drakengard 3 come from the same creative vision. The actual events of the plot here almost don't matter, and certainly any importance is blurred by the constant alternate endings. Like, you can be sure that whatever character you're focusing on is gonna bite it in at least one of the endings. You watch so much awful crap happen to these people. You have to go online to figure out what's canon and what's just for fun. The entire game deliberately tanks the general integrity of Drakengard's convoluted but constantly dark conception.
The translator cried blood making this. Oh, I bet.
You might as well chalk the story up to cutscenes. It's good for a watch and a laugh, but the constant vapid nonsense, fourth wall breaks, total annihilation of every character in different ways. I don't get some epic Kino feel, as the youth say, right? I'm feeling like nothing matters. And that's the last place you want to be. You could say it's in line with Drakengard 1, cynical on the face but hopeful. I just think the fountain's too riddled with blood piss.
Oh, they actually have like little tattoos on their faces, like 1 to 5. That's adorable.
And come to enjoy the drink. Unless you like that kind of thing. Maybe you're thinking, but you said combat, sometimes fun. Yeah, well, by the time you're past the main story, the difficulty jumps in weird ways. A lot of it is easy, no trouble, but sometimes, see a figure that jumping aerial into dash cancel beats like 90% of the game, and you do that forever. Oh, honestly, any enjoyment the gameplay brings fades by the end as you constantly run through old areas, doing more menial tasks and fighting the same like 8 or so mini-bosses in increasingly annoying combinations. The saving grace is the DLC, which coincidentally costs too much money for far too little and is—
How much is the game anyway?
Generally speaking comprised of reused assets, but let's not lose hope. I haven't talked about the Encounters yet, and their DLCs kinda matter. So let's go. 5 gets a little more backstory. She's not just a food and crazy sister creeper, she's got questions about the nature of humanity and happiness, but just ends up eating a giant crab.
Oh, yes.
I hate everything about this. 4 gets outed as not only a virgin and generally toxic individual who places far too much value on outward appearances. From 4's letters. Your turn, 5. You're the only little sister I have, but you act like this bitter old lady. Oops. Sorry. Did that sound harsh? It's totally what everyone thinks, though. And seriously, the way you throw those fat globules of yours around? Disgusting. But she also commits genocide on the elves because one asked her to, and it isn't manslaughter.
Oh, so you can't even like get the game like that. I for a moment I forgot that you can't just like go and get it on Steam. So you have to like hunt for it.
Really glad she gets the funny death scenes. 3 is not very interesting, except for the end of her story, wherein it's revealed she's been experimenting on humans, killing 56 people and driving a permanent divide between her and Octa. This one's okay. Oh, and hey, she named her 2 experiments and piss. Epic. 2 might be the only one really worth the price of admission, frankly. In the main game, her brain's broke because she couldn't handle her power or something, but turns out she's mentally destroyed thanks to her past, in which one of the worst characters becomes likable and she becomes incredibly sympathetic. It starts happy, there's some foreshadowing with her happiness apparently overflowing like a cup running over, and she needs reassurance for that. This is smart and good writing, by the way. A problem then arises and her compassionate life project, her orphanage, is destroyed in a single day. It's not bad. 1's DLC is something, I guess.
Because
so there were 5 different DLCs for each one of the sisters.
Aren't allowed to.
Oh yeah? You just wait 100 years and we'll see how well humankind absorbed that particular wisdom. Also, you fight one of the only bosses with a mechanic. Hard to believe. Shame she can't handle basic kiting. Zeroes is some stuff about Michael, I don't know, I'm not really a fan of the lore. Now, the entirety of the game culminates with the real final boss of the final chapter, the Flower. See, the Flower appeared on Zero and won't piss off, even birthed the other Intoners. Turns out to be a disease of the Watchers of some degree that won't let the bearer die, instead causing them to shoot their whole selves should they meet death. I think the story has such a hard time working because the idea that the sisters are somehow controlled by the Flower, and that its intentions are ultimately to destroy humanity, etc., is not clearly conveyed or understandable. Like, the sisters are controlled remotely or by virtue of their origin as flower-birthed people. It's really unnecessarily high concept. You can do an apocalypse story without the endless spells and whistles, without creating a totally confusing and—
Oh, that's the android who had a task of like writing it all down, right?
Player hostile environment where they're forced to grind away and do their homework to figure out what's going on in your game in plain terms. Like, sure, leave room for speculation, but make sure the thing is understood. It's my issue with Drakengard overall. Sure, blame the other writers too, but Taro's involvement is extensive. He's the one who presses square for his inclusions. I kept reading this bit about his backwards script writing being a technique he uses to write stories, his signature thing. And as a writer, my first thought was, well, doesn't everyone start with some end in mind and write steps in? At least sometimes. Like, it's not some ancient sealed technique, man. I feel like this stuff gets mythologized about beyond belief. Ah, but maybe he's earned that mythology. Nobody's really been as bold as often as Taro. It's where the work finds its worth. Granted, I get it with NieR, but this isn't that video. I still don't understand how the creator of this—
I love how he just gets Square to just be so unapologetic with these things, just because of who he is and his fan base.
This made that. Because Drakengard 3 has decent moments, but unlike with NieR, NieR, it can't bring me to care. Maybe it's all the tack, I don't know. I started out not understanding the love for Drakengard 1, but it may be the best of the lot in terms of story clarity and payoff. In terms of somewhat likable characters and a vision less convoluted by far in spite of the insanity. Its spirit lives in Drakengard.
Honestly, it sounds like the best story, isn't it?
But it's weighed down by so much self-referential humor, fourth wall breaking, disgusting garbage. I'm not even a prude, I just feel like I'm getting teabagged here. It's so unbearably cynical, and even a crumb of something pure and good, any kind of hope that you could find in a child murder game, is locked behind this ridiculous rhythm game. Do you have to rotate the camera like that? I can't see! Fuck!
One ending remains. Deemed too spicy for you was sealed on the second channel link in the description. Is this something they talked about in the previous videos? I can't remember if they went through Drakengard 3 endings.
Hey, it's K-Bash. Special thanks goes out to my $4 patrons, whose names are on the screen. The show's on its way somewhere good. The Big Bubby.
This is a good video. If you haven't subscribed to K-Bash, make sure to do so. I think I'm subscribed to all of these people on my other channel, but I'm watching on my on Vplays. What is this? This is lore summary. I think this is pretty much the same thing that we watched, right? Like, does this video contain anything else that wasn't covered by these two? Like, I see some footage of, like, NieR Replicant, I suppose, and there's a little bit of, I think they put in Daddy NieR as well. Is this something that you would also recommend watching for people who watched this particular video? Does it have more stuff? Drakengard 3 is always prequel to 1, so each ending will always bring it back to 1. I see. What do you think about this one? This one was also posted on Discord. I don't know if you've seen this video, but let me know. I just need to go to the bathroom, and I'm not sure if we should watch this one or no. Actually, because I'm not gonna do anything else today apart from these few videos. Just let me know about this one. If there's like not everything, just the ending of the video, or let me see. What is this? This is the first NieR game, isn't it? How would you recommend watching this? Just watch the whole thing if it's too different, or like I don't want to be like I don't want us to be too repetitive. If it's a good video, we can just watch it. But if there's anyone who's seen this one, do let me know. Trying to see. It actually looks fairly interesting. We can watch it. I'm gonna be right back. I just need to go to the bathroom, and it looks like a really good summary before Automata. So yeah, we're gonna watch it. Around 22 minutes, or if you want to know the end of 3 to all the beginning. I'm gonna gonna watch the whole thing. I don't want to miss out on it. So we're gonna watch it. First of all, this is the video from Valkyrie Aurora. It says inactive. I don't know if this is still ongoing or not. But anyways, you can check it out if you want to. Hi, Lilith, and welcome back. How are you doing? What's up? I hope you're having a great day. This is the third. Actually the fourth one and the final one that we're going to watch today. It's supposed to be the lore summary from Drakengard to NieR Automata, so this should get us ready for Automata probably next week. So yeah, let's take a look.
When looking at his work, you can tell that Yoko Taro is no stranger to convoluted stories. This really shines through in the Drakengard and NieR series. Although you don't have to play any of
NieR's not necessarily convoluted. It is weird, but it does make sense in a way.
The previous games in order to enjoy the story that'll be presented in NieR Automata, there is an underlying story that connects the games together. However, it's not really explained in game, which can make it a bit hard to—
Oh, what happened to the channel? Does she do videos on another channel or just doesn't upload anymore?
Piece it all together. Which is why I decided to make this video trying to explain what ties the series together. Although events in the game's story have been canonically recorded ever since year 1 and the birth of Christ, the real story begins in 856. A giant earthquake shakes the Iberian Peninsula and lots of weird occurrences happen throughout the entire world, including a giant metropolis rising seemingly out of nowhere in just one night. This incident shakes the entire world around and is dubbed the Great Disaster.
I see.
The event brought both powerful dragons and otherworldly beings known as Watchers.
That's a shame. Like, I mean, sometimes there are reasons for people, you know, stopping with content creation, but it's always sad to see really good ones go
to the world. It also caused the multiple world divergence phenomenon, which is a phenomenon that occurs when a chosen group of sentient beings come together, which in turn then causes a timeline to split. The dragons wreak havoc in the following years, destroying entire empires. In 865, Europe casts aside the concept of individual countries in order to come together and form Midgard. A cathedral city is made in Midgard.
Thanks for dropping by, Luna. Have a great day.
And an institute known as Pythagoras Institute is formed, where Midgard's nobles and intellectuals come together to study both the Great Disaster and the other strange occurrences.
Is this stream really laggy? I had another person today asking me that. I think it should be okay, but do try to refresh. I don't know, some people said that it was a little bit laggy, some people said that it was fine. I think it should be okay. I'm not seeing a reason for it to be laggy, but if it is, let me know.
Taking place in the world. In 981, a girl is born. She suffers through a tragic childhood, having been sold off to child prostitution by an abusive mother. The girl wasn't given a name by her mother, which leads to the people at the brothel referring to her simply as Usubeni, meaning light crimson, based on the color of her eyes. After an unsuccessful heist where she is betrayed by another girl from the same brothel, Usubeni is captured and brought back to the brothel only to kill everyone in the facility. She then flees to another town where she happens to run into one of the brothel's regulars. He offers Usubeni a place to stay, but after she contracts a contagious illness, the man does everything he can to get rid of her. She kills the man in self-defense before he can sell her off to prostitution again. Usubeni goes on with her life, now a numb and merciless killer. During one of her later killing sprees, her illness gets the better of her and she is captured by guards. Usubeni is then placed in a cell together with 5 other girls who are all subjected to horrible torture. They all die one by one, and Usubeni is eventually the only one left alive. But it doesn't take long for her illness to catch up with her.
Yeah, I think it might be your Wi-Fi, because since one other person told me about it, I've been having my YouTube and my Twitch open, and I think I'm fine. I'm looking at the footage right now, and it should be okay, but let me know if something happens.
And soon, she's on the brink of death. In her last living moments, she sees a beautiful flower rise up from the ground. In 995, the cathedral city is struck by an explosion accidentally caused by the Central Magic Institution. Witnesses to the explosion say that the debris formed something akin to a giant flower that covered the sky. The explosion is what causes the mysterious flower to find its way to Usubeni. Her body is brought back to life by the magical flower as it takes root deep within her. She is made into a magic weapon of destruction, as she is given the power of an intoner, a godlike being that
It's still very hard to connect the games together, and I think maybe playing through Automata will help me with it, but the stories are really interesting.
Manipulates magic through songs. Usubeni, feeling very upset about this, tries to kill the flower by committing suicide. However, this causes the flower to create 5 more intoners, creatively named 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, splitting Usubeni's powers up between them in the process. She sees the creation of her 5 sisters as her own fault and sets out to kill them, taking on the new name, Zero. Zero goes on to search for a dragon who is powerful enough to help her destroy the flower and the rest of the intoners. She ends up making a pact with a dragon named Michael.
Like, honestly, this sounds like such a cool story. It's too bad that the game is just like not recommended to play through.
Hell-bent on making sure that Zero is killed, 1 creates a clone of herself from one of her ribs as a failsafe if she would fail to kill Zero herself. This clone is kept a secret from the rest of the intoners. Although the clone is physically identical to 1 herself, it is male. Here is where the events of Dracula
I didn't get that part
begin.
from the
Zero
first.
and Michael team up to try and take on the 5 sisters, who have been traveling
First
across
video.
the world defeating numerous evil monarchs and are now being praised as heroes in Midgard. In the fight with the 5 sisters, Zero loses one of her arms and Michael dies, only to be reincarnated and renamed Mikhail. After their plan fails, Zero and her new dragon Mikhail go into hiding in order to prepare for another
Does the new dragon have a different voice actor?
attack against the sisters. Drakengard has 4 different endings in-game. Ending A, Ending B, Ending C, and Ending D. However, only 2 paths
Male one
lead
is
to
reference
other
to
entries
Adam and Eve, but in this case, the male is created from the rib of the female.
in the series. The game's ending A leads to a spin-off manga called Shi ni Itaru Aka, starring 1's clone. But ending A also leads to a collection of short stories known as Drakengard 1.3. It borrows a lot of the same characters from the game Drakengard 1, but it tells a different story. What leads us to the actual game Drakengard 1, however, is a bit tricky to explain. In 2014, writer Jun Eishima created a novelization of Drakengard 3's story with the intention of creating a link between the games, which means that no canonical in-game ending in Drakengard 3 actually leads to any other game in the series. The novelization
except for the fact that I guess she's the one who connected the 2 clones to be like the descendants.
He tells the events that took place in Drakengard 3 from the perspective of 1's clone. In the year 1000, Zero successfully kills all of the Intoner sisters, but Mikhail is poisoned in battle. In order to prevent Mikhail's death, Zero forms a pact with him to try and save his life. However, Zero is stabbed by 1's clone and dies alongside Mikhail. 1's clone then goes on to form the cult of the Watchers in honor of the dead Intoners, claiming the name 1 for himself and then posing as his dead sister. This is the game's ending A, and what ties in with the manga Shi ni Itaru Aka. 3 years later, a plague is taking over the world and monsters are running around freely, but the cult of the Watchers are fighting against them. In 1012, a system known as the Seal System is created by priests that were a part of the cult of the
Honestly, I think this is the best video out of all of them. It's very it explains the events in such a good way.
Watchers. They were created in order to seal away a great danger known as the Seeds of Destruction, to keep the world from falling into chaos, as anything that enters the seed will be transformed into a creature hell-bent on destroying humanity. One woman is also appointed as the goddess of the seal. Her job is to act as the guardian for the final seal. However, problems quickly arose due to jealousy being targeted at the goddess, and the founder of the cult, being 1, the clone, not the dead Intoner sister, is exiled. Whilst he is exiled, a disease that turns people into mindless drones known as the Red Eye Disease infects someone related to the cult. They die shortly after having been infected. One meets a refugee.
Yeah, her voice is very good.
Named Rosa in 1024. 1 year later, Rosa gives birth. The following years are filled with a lot of to and fro. Goddesses die left and right due to different circumstances. Now, the easiest way to explain the time split that occurs is to look at one's bloodline. The events of the spin-off manga Shin Itaru Aka follows their son Gruen's bloodline. Following along with Grenad's bloodline instead is what brings us to Drakengard 1. Grenad meets an unnamed woman and together they have one child. The child's name is never specified, but he or she then grows up and in turn eventually has a child named Ramia. Ramia then goes on and gives birth to twins Sere and Mana. Ramia's parenting is very inconsistent. She showers Sere with love but absolutely hates Mana, going as far as leading Mana out into the woods only to abandon her, which leads to Mana being found and taken in by the Watchers and worshipped as a high priestess in the cult. Now, the events of Drakengard 1
The problem she caused.
Protagonist Kaim meets and forms a pact with a red dragon named Angelus in order to protect his sister Furiae from being kidnapped by an evil group known as the Empire. Furiae is the 13th goddess of the seal, and the Empire wants to get rid of all the seals so that they can bring forth the seeds of destruction and call upon the Watchers to destroy humanity. Unlike the story of Drakengard 3, Drakengard 1 only has one path that leads to another entry in the series, which is NieR. A popular misconception is that Drakengard 2 continues on from Drakengard 1's ending A. However, this is not true. Drakengard 2's timeline is completely separate from Drakengard 3 and Drakengard 1's timeline, even though the setting is much the same. In all honesty, I am unsure why they decided to give Drakengard 2 its own timeline, but that's a question for another time. After the events of Drakengard 1's ending A, Furiae dies and her betrothed Inuart brings her to one of the seeds of destruction known as the Bone Casket. The Bone Casket is a special seed that's different from the other seeds of destruction. As the other seeds of destruction were placed on the planet by the gods, the Bone Casket is a seed that is used by the dragons who are fighting against them. As Inuart enters the Bone Casket together with Furiae, a child is formed. This child is Noe, a human-dragon hybrid.
That's very subtle, huh?
known as the new breed. Noe goes on to become the protagonist of Drakengard 2. Kaim's red dragon Angelus takes over as the goddess of the seal after Furiae passes. The Red Eye Disease begins to wither away, and the Empire is dissolved. A new foundation called the Knights of the Seal is founded by a man named Verdele in order to protect the seals. Noe ends up joining the Knights of the Seal when he's older, and the events of Drakengard 2 begin.
Yeah, I didn't used to understand who the actual protagonist of 2 was.
I won't really dwell into Drakengard 2 though, considering that Yoko Taro didn't work on the title, and that it doesn't lead up to any other entry in the series. Drakengard 1's ending E, however, is a lot more interesting. In this ending, both Furiae and Inuart pass away without leaving an offspring. With all of the seals broken, including Furiae, who was the goddess of the final seal at the time, being dead, the Watchers appear along with a being known as the Queen Beast. Kaim and his dragon Angelus attempt to attack the Queen Beast, unwillingly passing into a parallel dimension when doing so. Now trapped in a modern Tokyo, they're forced to fight and defeat the Queen Beast.
That's such a random thing to be happening in this game.
After having defeated the queen, her body disperses into an undeterminable substance somewhat akin to sodium chloride. Japan's Air Force then shoots Angelus down with a missile strike, her dead body impaling itself on the Tokyo Tower. Her body is retrieved and stored in a research facility. This is where the two series meet, and Drakengard ends, only for NieR to begin. Kaim and Angelus' battle with the Queen becomes known as the 6/12 incident in Japan, because it occurred on June 12th. Although a gag order was issued, both pictures and videos are quickly spread online, and so naturally, conspiracy theories begin blossoming. Later that same year, an unknown deadly disease begins spreading in Shinjuku. The effects of the disease cause the infected people's bodies to turn into sodium chloride, much like how the Queen's body broke down. The disease initially starts off as very rare, but it doesn't take long for it to spread like wildfire, and some victims would cave into psychotic breakdowns. The following year, the medical research team that were put in charge of researching the disease gave it the name White Chlorination Syndrome, due to some of the infected people chlorinating and essentially turning into dust. What the scientists didn't know and what really happened when an individual was infected by white chlorination.
Yeah, it's like I bet people were so surprised to see this just randomly popping up in a game that had a completely different setting. I wonder how that was for the first time.
Syndrome goes a lot deeper, however. When infected, people were essentially put in front of a god and forced to make the choice of either dying and turning into salt or becoming a mindless drone that'll be used as a tool for the gods themselves. As the research continues on, the Japanese government plans to build a wall around Shinjuku, sealing it off for good. However, they are met with violent protests. That changes, however, when a popular celebrity is attacked by one of the infected and passes away. The government sees this as an opening to turn the public's opinion around and successfully manages to get their plan approved by the people. A giant wall, known as the Wall of Jericho, is built in order to seal Shinjuku off, despite protests being aimed at them from all over the world. Japan continues the research on white chlorination syndrome, both from outside the walls
I don't
as
get
well
how
as
this
from
relates
within
to the
them.
beginning of
Transmissions
NieR.
are sent to the outside from volunteers who decided to stay within the walls as a way of communication. However, one day they are abruptly cut off, and the last piece of film that the outside receives ends with a weird creature making its way on screen as the people scream in horror. In 2006, an unknown faction raids the research facility that acts as a home for what is left of the Red Dragon's body. Conspiracy theories quickly spread, and Japan's security measures are drastically heightened. 1 year later, a strange black dot starts appearing in satellite photos of Shinjuku. The black dot is being observed, but there seems to be no need for any further investigation. In February 2008, the Wall of Jericho is destroyed from the inside, and strange sounds, similar to sounds heard during the 6/12 incident, fill the air. A large army of white creatures break out from behind the wall and start slaughtering any human they come across. This army is named the Legion, and a creature who seems to be observing and organizing their attacks is given the name Red Eye. The Japanese Self-Defense Force attempts to combat the Legion's attacks. However, white chlorination syndrome begins spreading regardless. Not only do the cases of white chlorination syndrome rise, but so do the numbers of the members of the Legion. So, back to the choice that the infected are confronted with. If they choose to defy the gods, they are killed and their body dissolves into salt. If they accept, however, they are made a part of the gods' new army and mindless killing machines, which is the army that was nicknamed the Legion. The scientists are still unaware that the gods are at play here, but continue to study the disease further. The identity of the Legion's leader, Red Eye, hasn't been confirmed in canon yet, but one popular fan theory is that it is in fact Kaim, the first game's protagonist. Although, that's just a theory.
How is that possible?
As the threat of white chlorination syndrome grows stronger, Japan suggests teaming up with the US in order to try and contain it. The US agrees, and so Legion corpses begin being transported overseas to American research labs. The US Army also lends a hand in trying to fight back against the Legion, and
where is all this information even coming from?
Slowly but surely, the Legion are pushed back, although not for long as new members keep on spawning from inside Shinjuku. Now desperate for a solution, the US and Japan turn to nuclear airstrikes in order to take out the Legion. Although Japan's citizens are not very welcoming of the idea, it's being strongly encouraged by the rest of the world. The bombings are deemed successful as no sign of the Legion is found within the country, and the butchered remains of Shinjuku came to be known as Ground Zero. However, the otherworldly particles are sent flying all over because of the bombings, and soon they've spread across the sea and reached China. In 2010, the first case of white chlorination syndrome is recorded outside of Japan, and the Legion shows itself again throughout different parts of Asia. It doesn't take long for white chlorination syndrome to spread across the globe, and so the research that is already being done is reinforced when the Legion's leader Red Eye is confirmed alive. Further research being done on the Red Dragon's body confirms the multiple world divergence phenomenon, and that both the Red Dragon and Kaim came from a parallel world along with the Queen Beast. They brought otherworldly particles known as maso with them, which is what is causing white chlorination syndrome. A year later, the new research facility holding the remains of the dragon is attacked by an unknown faction, and Angelus's body disappears. In 2014, a project known as Project Gestalt is launched in an attempt to stop white chlorination syndrome from spreading. Utilizing the effect that the otherworldly particles have on the human body, scientists managed to successfully split.
So that was effectively the disease that made them start Gestalt at first. I see. Okay.
A person's body and soul apart,
This is a good video.
only for them to join back together at a later point. The process is dubbed Gestaltization. The project is introduced to the public in 2015, but is rejected by the masses. A year later, in 2016, another project called Luciferase is developed, with the goal of slowing down the outbreak. Elite soldiers are injected with a drug known as Luciferase. They are sent out into battle against the Legion, and although they do manage to battle them for quite a while, they are eventually wiped out. After more research, scientists find Luciferase to be more effective when given to younger patients, which leads to the formation of the Hamelin Organization, an organization made for training teenagers whose bodies were compatible with the drug to fight the Legion. The Japanese government expresses displeasure against the amount of trust being placed in the Hamelin Organization by the military, and so the National Research Weapons Laboratory is founded with the aim of harvesting the energy of the otherworldly particles Maso for the sake of weaponization. The Legion and the Hamelin Organization engage in fierce battles all over the world, and although the Hamelin Organization's reputation grows and a huge number of new recruits are waiting to join them, Japan's economy is struggling, and a majority of the country's survivors are taking refuge in Kyushu. The battles keep on going, creating gigantic gaps.
Yeah, I didn't understand how historical the game is.
Between the rich and the poor, not only in Japan, but all over the world. In 2025, the very first replicants are created. These so-called replicants are a part of the Gestalt process. They act as the solution in a case where a gestaltized soul loses its physical body. The experiments prove successful and Project Gestalt is making headway. Red Eye, leader of the Legion, is killed in Jerusalem in 2030 by the Hamelin Organization. Without a leader, the Legion is no longer able to coordinate their attacks, and they soon cease to be an actual threat. But this did not stop the rapid spreading of white chlorination syndrome. In 2032, there are still no signs of a cure for white chlorination syndrome, and so Project Gestalt is brought up to the public once again. This time, standing amidst the terror of the seemingly unstoppable white chlorination syndrome, the people agree to be gestaltized. Project Gestalt is popularized across the entire world. People allow their soul and body to be separated as they were put to sleep until they were ready to wake up once the pandemic was over. Androids are created as a means to watch over the project and keep it in check. The Grimoire project is also created the following year. This project allows a Gestalt to be transformed into a book-like vessel. 13 different books were created, starting with the first two named Grimoire Noir and Grimoire Vice.
I didn't know there were
these
more
two
of them.
grimoires were to be activated at the same time,
Ashteric, hello and welcome! Thank you so much for the raid, and welcome everyone from the raid. Maxim0014 and Anso D also welcome! How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day! Today we're pretty much watching the videos that are very much related to the NieR and Drakengard lore, as I only just finished playing through NieR Replicant, and next week I'm going to be starting with NieR Automata, and that should be exciting. So I'm just trying to basically get myself ready to go through Automata while knowing all of these things. And yeah, once again, welcome, and thank you for sending your viewers over here. How was your stream?
multiple gestalts would be joined back together with the replicants at once. Depending on which version of the game that you're playing, the story begins in different years. 2049 for NieR Gestalt, and 2053 for NieR Replicant.
Okay, so Gestalt was the original game, like the one where there was Papa NieR instead of Brother NieR, or also I'm replaying Automata starting tomorrow myself, getting hyped for the anime starting next Saturday. Actually, that's the reason why I'm also gonna be playing through Automata, but I haven't played it yet. It's gonna be my first playthrough, and I'm very excited for it.
For the sake of this summary, I will be retelling the events of NieR Replicant, as that is the game which eventually leads us to NieR Automata.
So NieR Gestalt was the first version, but that one does not lead to NieR NieR Automata, right? Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you dropping by and sending your viewers here. Also, what did you stream? Did you play through Replicant just now, or are you playing? Or are you playing something else? You're starting. Okay, you're starting Automata tomorrow. I see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be starting one of these days, like maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow. We'll be playing that. Oh, I was playing FF14. Oh, really? Oh, FF14 is actually my main game. And mostly I play that, but during the patch drought, I play other games, mostly RPGs. So that's pretty much my content.
After further research is done on Project Gestalt, the scientists realized that the replicants created from the process would eventually relapse, meaning that they would break down if they were put into the replicant state for too long.
Oh, it was scrapped off the canon story. I see. So they made a completely new game and decided that that was going to be the beginning of Automata. I see.
In 2058, NieR's younger sister, or daughter if you're playing Gestalt, who is currently infected with white chlorination syndrome, falls into a state of deep sleep.
So Yona was infected with white chlorination, and then after that, the Black Scroll? Like, she is one unlucky girl. Same with Play Variety to find you through Twitter and Hive. I see. Well, I'm glad. The Hive community is actually, especially when it comes to RPGs, is really growing, and I'm kind of happy to see that. It's a nice place.
In order to save Yona, NieR makes a pact with one of the Grimmars. He is given the title of the original Gestalt and the name Shadow Lord. He goes on to live 1,000 years into the future together with Yona, who is destined to wake up from her sleep state after 1,000 years, free from white chlorination syndrome. Granted that NieR, as Shadow Lord, is providing genetic material to keep the Gestalt project from collapsing. During this 1,000-year skip, the replicants are fighting against the Legion and are making good headway. However, the replicants start growing into sentient beings.
The Black Scroll is the white chlorination. They just give it a different name? I see, I understand. Okay, so they just call it Black Scroll for, their own reasons. Like, okay, I get it.
Developing their own culture and deviating from their original Gestalts.
But Yona? Like, Yona's body is a replicant? She's not an original human. Like, how did she acquire the white chlorination syndrome then? I'm still a little bit confused on these events. I'm still trying to make sense of this.
One replicant who wishes to bring a loved one back from the dead travels to Jerusalem. Although he manages to successfully resurrect the other replicant, it shows no signs of its previous memories or personality. The replicant's eyes have a red glow in them, having been taken over by the evil Legion leader, Red Eye. And so, the Legion's leader is alive once more.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sense of the lore. I'm very new to the franchise. NieR Replicant is the first one that I've ever played through, and I just finished with all of the endings. So right now I'm just trying to connect the pieces, and it's a lot.
However, the Legion is destroyed again. Now, in 3288, the Gestalts regain their consciousness, only to meet up with confrontational replicants. After awakening 1,000 years into the future, NieR continues on with his life together with Yona. Yona is still sick, however, so NieR journeys out to find the cure for his sick sister, and meets a group of companions along the way. A swordswoman named Kaine, a young boy named Emil, and a magical talking book. Together, they work to find a cure for Yona and fight the mysterious beasts known as Shades. Although they're a mismatched group of heroes, Kaine being 50% human and 50% Shade, and Emil being a secret superweapon, they travel together nonetheless. NieR Gestalt and NieR Replicant both have 4 in-game endings.
Are the endings for the Gestalt and Replicant all the same, pretty much, except for like those little bit of like changed cutscenes and dialogues? They end the same way?
Ending A, B, C, and D. However, NieR Replicant has a 5th ending dubbed Ending E. This ending is what leads us to NieR Automata. During ending D, NieR sacrifices himself to help Kaine. He then disappears and no one remembers that he ever existed, not even Yona. However, because he was the original Shadow Lord, aka the one tasked with providing genetic material to stabilize the Gestalt project, NieR sacrificing himself leads to the destruction of all the remaining Gestalts. Continuing on from ending D and leading us into ending E is a novella named The Lost World. In 3473,
that's the novella that you were
finds a
talking
mechanical
about,
tower
right?
in the middle of a forest known as the Forest of Myth, creating new replicants from the already existing ones, essentially making it the core of Project Gestalt. Here, she meets with a mysterious young man who refers to himself as the Overseer of the Forest. The Overseer claims to be of similar existence as the magical book Grimoire Wise, as he is able to control the lives of both Gestalts and replicants. The Overseer also states that the forest is a place where an ancient race of people studied something known as the demonic element, which is Maso, the element that was spread when Kain fought the Queen Beast. He then cryptically reveals that the
Okay, this is slowly but surely starting to make a little bit of sense.
area is entering its final phase, and that the shutdown sequence has already begun. Emil, having reconstructed his body after losing it during the events of NieR, helps Kaine attack the mechanical tower. The Overseer continues to chastise Kaine about someone whom she cannot seem to remember, no matter how hard she tries, before claiming their current world to be a failure. Together, Kaine and Emil manage to reach the tower's power source. Here, Kaine is met with a familiar voice, telling her to stay away. Kaine, however, is having none of that, and reaches into the blinding white light that the source is emitting. The white light then disappears, and Kaine is able to
Was there ever, like a hint of romantic feelings between Kaine and Papa NieR? Like, that never happened, did it?
reunite with a reconstructed Emil and a younger NieR. 725 years later, the last Gestalt is destroyed. In 512, the planet is invaded by aliens, and the space war begins. Emil successfully manages to create over 85 million copies of himself in order to fight against the aliens. Machines are taking over the planet. The living machines that we've seen from the recent NieR Automata demo are being controlled by aliens. In 5645, the short novella story The Fire of Prometheus takes place, where a robot nicknamed Beepy climbs its way out of a heap of junk only to find robots, humans, and aliens seemingly all at peace. However, many years later, several new wars are started and squadrons of androids are being put together in order to fight the resistance, but the aliens prove to be too strong. In 11,939,
that's very
the
far into the
14th
future.
machine war breaks out, and the remains of humanity flee to the surface of the moon, where they work on developing new and better androids in order to fight the living.
I see. It's a good thing that I watched this video last, because this one is actually starting to make a lot of sense for the context of Automata.
Machines. It is during this time that the very first successful Yorha units are created. We know that NieR Automata takes place somewhere around the year 11,944 during the aforementioned 14th Machine War. But this leads us to a stop, as we do not know how NieR Automata ends yet, obviously, seeing as the game hasn't been released.
Oh, this
However,
was before the release.
Yoko
I
Taro
see.
did write a stage play titled Yorha, which tells the story of the Yorha units during humanity's war against the living machines, which bears striking resemblance to the plot of NieR Automata we've seen thus far. So I won't go into the plot of the stage play any further in order to avoid potential spoilers. Now, I really hope that this wasn't too confusing, but I mean, it is Yoko Taro's stories I'm trying to piece together here. There were obviously parts that—
No, this was very good. This was a very good video. This is actually probably the best explanation that I've seen so far.
were skimmed over, as it's difficult to summarize such a large and convoluted plot, but I hope that I at least managed to spike your interest for the series if you weren't already going to check out NieR Automata. Yoko Taro's way of storytelling is very interesting and unique, and although the Drakengard games and NieR all have their fair share of flaws, they're all very unique and very strange games. Personally, I've been a longtime fan of Yoko Taro's work, as I know that with each new game he makes, I'm in for something that I've never experienced before. In an interview with Dengeki, Yoko Taro stated that NieR Automata will have a happy ending. However, it is
Like, what is happy? Happy is never happy for everyone.
Yoko Taro we're speaking about here. A man known for never providing endings that are happy for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
The bad guys don't always die, and the heroes don't always survive. And
like, happy is very, just very subjective, I guess.
And the innocent aren't always spared. But that's part of what makes this story so great. Anyway, I can't wait to play NieR Automata, and I truly hope that you feel the same way after having seen this video. I mean, assuming that you weren't already excited for the game.
It's a very good video, and this is by Valkyrie Aurora. Unfortunately, the channel is no longer active. I don't think she uploads videos anymore. But I really enjoyed all of today's videos, and I think they're very, very good. I'm gonna be ending the stream now in a bit, but before I do, since we have a lot of people here, I actually do have a little bit of a video that I prepared just in case you just popped in while I was watching the video and are here on the channel for the first time. So I'm just gonna play it. It lasts like a minute, and it'll tell you a little bit more about my content. So yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Hey there, and thank you so much for the raid. I hope you and your viewers are having a wonderful day so far. My name is V, and you'll find me streaming plenty of games here. My main game is FF14, but you'll mostly find me streaming any sort of RPG, JRPGs, turn-based strategy, adventures, and occasional action RPGs as well. We have a super welcoming community around here, and I'd love to have you around. If you like the vibes and my content sounds like something you'd like to watch, make sure to hit that follow button or sub if you're watching on YouTube, depending on where you are, because I multi-stream on both. All of my social media links are in the About Me section on Twitch or in the description of this video if you're on YouTube. Oh, and if you're watching this and you happen to be here before the raid, make sure to give our raider a follow or a subscribe on YouTube, depending on where you are. Now let's go back to the actual present and get to know each other. Oh gosh, sorry about that. I did mute myself when I did mute myself when I was playing that video, but anyway, I hope that was that gave you a little bit of an introduction. Sorry about the muted audio. I completely forgot about that. But anyways, I will be playing NieR Automata in the next few days, and like I said, if you enjoy RPGs, I hope that that you're gonna have fun here, and that this is something that you wish to see more of. We're in the next few days. We're also gonna be finishing Final Fantasy IV that I'm currently going through, as I started as a preparation for 6.3 patches, and on January the 10th, or even a few days before that, I'm going to be going back into Final Fantasy XIV, and you can expect a lot more content when it comes to that. But next week also NieR Automata, so I'm excited for that. And thank you again for watching. Atos Flame, welcome again, and sorry about the audio. I hope you're having a great day, and sorry if I was muted actually while greeting you. But anyways, that's going to be it for today. Thank you, first of all, thank you so much for sending me all these links in Discord, and this is all making a lot more sense now. I really enjoyed the videos, and yeah, next time I see you, which will be next week, I'm not sure if it's going to be tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Actually, that depends on whether my kiddo's daycare works tomorrow or not. Probably not though, so he's probably going to be at home, and I might just have an editing day, and we'll see you on like Tuesday or whatever. I'll let you know. But anyways, that's it for today. Have a lovely rest of your day. Happy New Year's again. I hope you had a great celebration, or will have a great celebration if you're doing something tonight, or if you're having just a chill weekend overall. I hope you are having having the best of times. Anyways, thank you so much. Have fun. Take care. Be sure to hit that follow button if you're new to the stream, or subscribe if you are new to YouTube, and I will see you most likely day after tomorrow. I'll update the schedule later on today, and yeah, we'll see you then. Happy New Year. Take care. Have fun, and bye bye.